Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with episode 22 of the Third Fleet podcast. We've just gotten a massive update to Monster Hunter Rise, so naturally I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Gaijin Hunter. How you doing, sir?
Sleep deprived.
Hey, join the club, dude. Join the club.
But for very good reasons, yes.
Yeah, like last night.
Very good.
The update dropped at around 1 a.m. my time, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this. Gosh. I'm gonna do this what they call on Twitch this five head move, this gamer move of like I'm gonna start streaming at midnight 30, and then I'm gonna stay up until like 3 a.m, which obviously I extended by another half an hour because I had to get that one more hunt in, and then at 3:30. I went up to go to sleep, and then at like 9, I was already up. And I was like, this is great. Yep. I'm going to come back down to the office and play some more Monster Hunter.
It's a glorious week.
It is
a good time indeed.
The update.
It was hard for me because the update came here at 9 a.m. It was 9 a.m. And it was a school day and a work day. So all I could do was update the switches for me and Yuna and also buy the DLC for us. And then I had to just let them sit there until she got home from school so that we can play it together. And I'm just like, and I'm just looking over the entire time. And I can see the switches. I'm like, I want to touch it, but I can't touch it. But I waited. I'm very happy I had the patience. And we started digging in the moment she got home. It was like 2:30, 3:30 or something like that. We dug in and we played until 2 a.m. last night.
So like 12 hours straight. Then you actually
we just went.
I think you probably have even more time with this update than I do because I don't think I've put 12 hours into it yet. Like I've put a lot, but not 12 hours.
Well, Yuna took like an hour break after we did Kushala because she was so upset. So
why was she upset?
We'll get into that. Kushala annoys her.
Okay, but before we get into Rise, because we're already getting into the update, guys, our brains are scattered all over the place. We're just super excited. But we wanted to start things off very much like Capcom did with the event reveal by talking about Monster Hunter Stories 2. So listen, I just have one word, one very simple word, which if I wasn't already super excited for Monster Hunter Stories 2, this would have been the thing. But I was already sold, right? But on top of it, Capcom's like, by the way, Rurikhan, here's the gun lance. Here's the gun lance on Stories 2. And here's Basil Goose as well, because why not? Basil Goose and the gun lance. And I was like, I can't even see anything else in this game. I have Basil Goose. I have the gun lance. It's all I want. I don't want anything else. I'm good.
It's like those Instagram filters where you see little hearts floating around the frame and you're like, I'm in love.
Pretty much.
It's funny because me and Yuna were talking before the event, and I said, what's the one thing you want to see? And she's like, I want Gammoth. And then she's like, what's the one thing you want to see? I was like, I want a rideable Basil. And boom, we both were watching the event, and our jaws just dropped. We're like, wow.
Dude,
now, what I was not expecting was what a gorgeous looking game. God. Not just the cutscenes, but like the revamped UI, everything about it looks like you always chef's kiss, like just so good.
I have to say it again. I say it every time we talk about it. It's like Pokemon, except it's good. So all of you Pokemon fans out there, if you're tired of the Pokemon company treating you bad, you can come over to this side.
Come on over
and play some Monster Hunter Stories too. And I really like the fact that it seems like they're diving deeper into like some guild stuff and whatnot, because they're like, oh, the mysterious riders and hunters are working together, and it's like, I don't know enough about the world of Stories, so I don't know if there were any actual hunters present in the first one. There were?
There was, yeah. So if you notice, they said that there was some returning characters from Stories 1, even though you don't need to have played that game. It's just some fan service.
Yeah.
But there was a hunter in there, and that was one of the areas I really liked about Monster Hunter Stories 1 was it did a really good job of slowly and what do I say, beautifully painting the picture of the difference between riders and hunters. So in like the first game, you are a rider and you're like a kid, but you do run into this older guy who's in this game. He's the yellow haired guy with the longsword.
Of course, he's an
a
asshole
hunter,
because he
and
has a
it's
long sword. So
no, he's a really nice guy actually. So
okay.
it's interesting seeing like the thought dynamic because the hunters look at the riders like these weird country bumpkins that are like they do things that we don't like. We don't ride monsters. What the hell? You know, it's like
Yeah.
it was interesting because they learn a little bit more about why people are feel threatened from some of these monsters, and the hunters learned about why they should respect the monsters a little bit more. But then of course with stories one, there was also like person on person. There was like the black riders and the bad organization of people trying to abuse and use the monsters because they just see them as tools or means to an end to do something. So seems like we're going to get that same theme back, which is a really interesting theme to explore. And I think it makes me look forward to the story quite a bit. Actually, the story was really well done in the first game.
I always go back to that, dude. Why can't they just release that first game on the Switch and then I would play it?
I
It's just
know.
like it'd be so easy to just put it on the Switch. And the interesting thing is whenever I bring this up, and I saw this a lot during the event when I was streaming the event, a lot of people were like, why won't they release the first one on Switch? I want to play the first one. Like there's probably millions of people that want to play the first one that never got to play it.
If they would ever do it, I think they would do it later. Only for the fact that I know that they're paranoid of they don't. Stories one was a beloved game, and people absolutely adored it, of all ages. But it wasn't the huge successful hit when you were talking about numbers. So, a lot of people were worried that they wouldn't make a Stories 2. So I think they're smart in that if they release Stories 1 beforehand, then it does make it feel like you have to have played Stories 1 before you play Stories 2. So I think they should do it, but they should do it after. It's sort of like a special present, especially if the stories aren't necessarily linked together. But God, yeah, it's such a good game.
Yeah. I'm super pumped for it. I can't wait. And I was actually surprised that they then said that 3.0 is coming out in May because I thought that 3.0 would come out after Stories 2 like we had talked, but it looks like no, we're going to give you another update next month, and I'm assuming 3.0 will carry us all the way into July cuz I don't see them like no every month new update. Especially not
I don't see
especially not an update the size of this one, which is completely insane.
Yeah, so I think they'll step out of the way probably for a little bit and let stories take the spotlight, and then the big question will be: is there going to be an update 4.0, and if so, when? So I think
there
it's
will
not
be.
on the roadmap. So, but I can imagine they might be tempted to put it on there, even if they're not planning it, just because of the sales. Did you see they hit
No, I
6
didn't.
million sales?
Jesus
Or
Christ. dude.
I say sales. I think it was shipped, including digital sales. So 6 million, which means I think it's only a few 100,000 copies away from being Capcom's best-selling single-platform title of all time.
Jesus Christ. That is so
They
good.
are crushing it.
I'm
they deserve it.
I'm super happy because this was already like when the game came out and I finished the game and I was like I really like it. I like the combat more than World. It's just I just had that thing where I just wish it had a little bit more content. That's the one thing that we keep talking about, right? And with this update, this is just like this is now my favorite game of all time. Like I prefer this a million times over from World. And it's ridiculous. Like the fact that the amount of stuff that we got and how much fun I've been having, it's freaking awesome. We can now craft layered armor. They've given us so much stuff. We're going to be going over each of the features of the update, but it's really gone above and beyond.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think we can leave, just so you guys who are listening, I think we're gonna leave Stories 2 behind and just jump into Rise at this point. But it doesn't mean that we're not. I think we'll probably end up doing a Monster Hunter Stories focused podcast one of these days. But I know that's still like 2.5 months away. So our minds are still very much in the here and now. So I think we need to transition over to Rise.
But it's like Gaijin is saying, this doesn't mean that we're not super excited. We're super excited, but there's not that much material to bring up right now. But good God, it just looks so good. It's freaking crazy. Okay, so in terms of Rise,
How about the digital event? What did you think about the new trailer?
Oh, dude, the digital event was friggin' wild. It was completely crazy. I love the new trailer. I love all of the stuff that they've shown. And it was really cool that they actually left something for people to discover, which we're not going to be talking about in today's podcast. But I love that. That was one of my favorite parts, is the fact that they didn't show their whole hand, which I felt it was something that they had been doing in the marketing campaign leading up to the game's release. Just like, here's this monster, here's this monster, this monster. They showed all of them, which I thought was almost all the monsters that were in the game, which I thought was friggin' crazy. So I like the fact that they left something for people to discover this time around. And what a surprise it was.
I'm not going to go on this tangent for long because I made a video about this yesterday and I don't want to spoil the fun of the conversation with negativity, but it's a little ironic that everyone in the community says, I just wish they had something in there that they didn't tell us exactly what it was, because that surprise is what we want. And their very first thing that it seems like everybody and their Palamute did the moment they saw it was, I'm going to go on Twitter and tell everybody. It's like, you all just you just took that away from everybody who didn't get home from work yet and booted the game. Like, stop it. So I was a little like, it just seemed a little ironic to me yesterday, and I was feeling a little stressed out. And then the people who were just jumping into people's streams and saying, hey, did you know this is in the game? And it's like, shut up, people.
That happened. That happened to me so much, like people just jumping in. And I mean, I got the monsters that were gonna be announced in the event. Someone spoiled that before the event even was live. Aww. and I was just like, because I had this theory, because of the fact that we only have one blast monster, so I had this theory that like I think we're gonna get Teostra. Like I think Teostra's coming because we need Elder Dragons, we need another blast monster. Teostra's just like a logical choice.
Perfect, yeah.
And so I was like, I'm announcing this to my stream, and then right before the event starts, someone did a donation, and thank you, by the way, I appreciate it. But like, they just spoiled like all of the monsters that were coming because apparently it leaked one day earlier or something. Like that sucks. That's one of the things that I don't like about leaks. I like getting surprised. I like seeing the stuff when it comes and getting surprised when the team is ready to reveal it, because that surprise factor is really cool, and I think it's very much undervalued, underestimated. I don't know, but I think a lot of people underestimate how fun that is to experience. That, like,
for people,
if you think about some of the surprises that you had in World when you first saw some of the monsters that weren't announced, like that was really fun, right?
Oh yeah, like I'll there's a few things I want to note here, which is funny, which is everyone thinks that I complain about this stuff because I got spoiled and it's ruined my experience. I actually don't care.
Yeah,
I'm one of the people who,
care.
For me, if I see a spoiler, I'm fine. Like that doesn't ruin the fun for me. However, that is not the case for many people, and I care very much about everyone else's experience, and so it bothers me. So there's that, and also, without going into too many details, man, did Capcom drop the ball in the actual game. Like there was so much they could have did.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And it's just like, come on, guys.
It's like
seriously.
They leave the surprise in the trailer where they were like, and more. And then you go into the game, you talk to an NPC and it's like, oh, by the way, here's the more. And we're just like, what? What do you mean?
I know. And there's other ways that in the game where you can accidentally find out without them telling you. And I'm just like, just shaking my head. I'm like, you guys are so dumb. Like, why would you do that? I was like, that's a total, what I would call missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That being said, it's still a surprise.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It was still a surprise,
but come on.
But it did, to me, it happened as I was browsing armors. Like I was browsing armors, and I noticed that like there's a set that you can only get if you do arena quests, which is the brigade set. And before this update, you could only get 2 pieces of that set. So I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing, oh, there's more pieces in the brigade set. And I didn't even notice it, but my chat instantly noticed. They're like, wait, was that coin? And I was like, oh no.
So I laugh because of how it's like they had the golden opportunity on a platter and they
Yeah,
just dropped it.
they
I'm
could.
like, come on, guys.
And it's like for
But you
those
know
of you
what? Hey,
that
but I
still go ahead.
still thank you for not announcing everything in the
Yes,
trailer. This is what we wanted, and you should do more
exactly.
of it, and you should do it in bigger volume as well. We should have more surprises. However,
Like
I learned that those
imagine,
surprises are only good if you are offline because people are going
yeah,
to immediately go online with it. I mean, I don't. It's not ill intent. They're just excited, right? And going,
yeah.
"Oh my god, look at this thing!" And there's no. It's all good natured, but it's just like a little unfortunate.
Yeah, but it's like imagine, for instance, so in the trailer they announced Kushala, Teostra, and Diablos, right? That's the stuff that was
Yeah,
confirmed in the trailer. So imagine if they hadn't announced Diablos. If they just
I
hadn't do it,
know.
and then they just be like, oh, there's a special monster in this ramp, like
With a
suddenly,
question mark, yeah, and you don't
yeah,
know what it
exactly,
is.
and you wouldn't know what it is. See, that would have been really cool. So like, imagine when you get to a certain hunter rank, for instance, that's when it would unlock. I don't know exactly what rank Diablos unlocks. Somewhere
Yeah,
like
just say
rank
like
40 or
you don't
whatever.
have reports of
Yeah,
all the monsters in there, but please go in there and be careful. And they set the stage and they get you
exactly.
all word, and then all of a sudden,
Boom, in comes Apex Diablos, and just like that'd be cool. And then same thing for potentially Kushala. Like you could have revealed Teostra to give people, oh, by the way, here's another Elder Dragon. It's going to be awesome. And then people would
wait a
start
second.
theorizing. Wait a second, it's the three Elder Dragons because it's Chameleos and Teostra. It's got to be Kushala, but they wouldn't say it. So people would be
I
thinking about it,
know.
and then suddenly you would get to a certain rank, and they'd be like, "Oh, again, question mark. Oh, there's this crazy monster that we're seeing in the Frost Islands and whatnot."
Or oh yeah, or you got to do it like the old school games always would have you go and do what seems like a very mundane quest, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
like monster pops up. I need you
dude,
to go gather a wyvern egg, and then you go in there like, bah! You're like, oh my god,
that would have been
go
awesome.
go fight a Kurupeko, and all of a sudden it calls somebody, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
That would have been
but
so awesome if they had done it like that. I would have been so happy. But
but that
still,
trailer held almost no punches. It was just like bam, bam, bam,
it's
full of
like
awesome stuff.
full of so many great things. And it was also like, oh, and by the way, update comes out later today. I was expecting it to come out actually tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, so I was expecting it to come out tomorrow.
Yeah,
Well, by the time this podcast comes out, it's going to be Thursday. But yeah, I was expecting it to come out on Thursday because that's the way that they did it in World, if I remember correctly. It was usually from
yeah. I
Thursday to
think Thursday
Friday.
was the day.
Yeah, but this time there's like,
That
nope,
was a nice surprise.
yeah, like here's the trailer, here's the date. It is now. Boom.
Okay, if you guys were just in the middle of this conversation, you're like, wait a second, what just happened? We were talking in the middle of something. My computer, it decided to do like an update. I woke up this morning and it was shining saying, you've got a new iOS, a new OS installed. I'm like, no, don't do that. So it seems to be doing what new OSs do, which is it has little hiccups. And I lost you for a second there, buddy, but I got you
Yeah.
back.
We're
Yeah.
back. You can't keep the hunters down.
Nope.
So
Dark Fate podcast goes forward.
what was the first thing that you did when you got into the game?
First thing. Well, the first thing was hilarious was like there's bubbles everywhere. Everyone wants to talk to me.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of new requests from the villagers, which was pretty cool.
First thing I did, the thing is like we were quite eager to sink our teeth into stuff. So there was some new quests added to HR7. So the first thing we did was jump into those.
Mm.
And I can't quite remember what quests we did. I think
Was
we
it one
did
of the
like
Utsuchi ones or
actually
what?
no, the very first quest we did was against Mystery Monster,
Yeah,
who we
the
renamed on him.
was it the village quest, the what the arena quest that they
No,
had?
we didn't do that yet. Oh my
Oh
god! But
my god.
did you see the reward that you get for clearing that? I suppose if you've done it,
Yeah,
you've
I
seen
I
it.
I did it, but I don't actually remember what the reward. No, isn't it the pedal ace? It's a pedal ace. No.
Well, I okay, maybe I'm confused. Maybe it's for doing all quests, but there is an eye patch
Oh
in the
yeah yeah
game
yeah 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 yeah. Yeah, I got that one.
that gives like critical eye level 4.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of meta gear in this update. Gear that I
Yeah.
was like, Jesus Christ. Like this is
Yeah,
every the wet dream of everyone that just wants critical eye, weakness exploit, critical boost, and all that stuff. Like there's a
oh yeah.
lot of that gear this time around. New decos and stuff like that. But
Yeah, the decos was I think the very first thing I did as well. Like I talked to Fugen because I knew I was supposed to. And then I checked out the decorations and all the armor. I was just like, oh, look at all the new stuff they added.
yeah,
Um,
I instantly jumped into the single player village quest. And then I jumped like all of the multi monster quests they gave us, which were supposed to give new petalaces. I'm like, I want new petalaces to check them
oh
out. And
yeah.
then it's like the new petalaces don't even matter that much because I barely ever pick up birds nowadays. So it's like I got the new petalaces, but
How was the village quest? Was it pretty challenging?
um,
Fun?
it was very fun. It was extremely fun. I did cart once, so yes, it was challenging,
You
but it
carted
was
in village,
yeah, I carted in village. It was an
and
advanced quest.
it wasn't to a Banahabra.
No, it was not a Bahama.
That monster carts me more than anything.
I carded once in that quest, and then I went and did the other multi monster quest for the other Petalace, and then I started just basically like going down the list, and
Yeah,
the hunter rank actually went up really fast. Like I wasn't
really
expecting
fast.
it
Yeah,
because I remember seeing someone in my chat complain, "Oh, I'm gonna have to grind to hunter rank 20 or whatever to do something."
yeah.
And I was like, "Wow!" So it's like you want more content, you
It's
don't want
like,
to raise your hunter rank. I don't understand, but it's like it
but
went so fast. It
it's
was
like
not
three
even a
hunts
thing.
and that was it. You know,
Yeah.
like two or three hunts and that was it. I was very surprised at how fast hunter rank goes. And what hunter rank are you at right now? I'm at 42.
I think I'm 50 something.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50,
it goes
50
up
something.
really fast. I think like we did one of the rampages against like Apex Diablos, and I think the hunter rank shot up 7 levels,
Yeah,
6 or 7. It was
it
crazy.
can get pretty friggin' crazy.
So I was happy to see that. So I think anybody who's complaining about or worried about, and rightfully so, I'm not digging you guys,
Yeah, yeah.
but people who were a little discouraged that their hunts up until now weren't accumulating hunter rank points, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
The
it's
game is
not a big
very,
deal.
very generous this time when it comes to hunter rank. You're not going to have any issues.
Yeah, it again, it wasn't really a big deal. And, even, and this again is this was even without trying. Like I was just like, "Oh, I want to go hunt this thing because I need this thing." And I would go hunt and it just naturally rose up and then suddenly I was like, "Oh, I can go fight Chameleos now." What'd you think about Chameleos?
God, I love that fight. Yuno was excited to fight it because she's seen the monster, but she's never faced it before. I love chameleons, and we have a pet lizard. Like we have a leopard gecko. We love um, chameleons and stuff like that. So like atmospheric is the best word I got for it. It is such the staging on that fight is so well done. And when it spews out the mist and everything changes, you feel like it's almost like when you're a kid and you're entering like Disneyland and you feel like you're in a whole nother world. Like, you can't see anything around you. It's just you in this old ruins with this mist. You can't see the background anymore, and the music is just jamming, and I love it. And I adore it. I thought the fight was fantastic, and it wasn't hard. I mean, Emilius has never been that hard of a
Yeah.
monster, but it's a great intro monster to make a set for, and it's just like, and some of the new attacks and stuff that like when it starts throwing up some of the venom, it's like,
Yeah, and here's the thing: there's a hitbox in his body while he's doing it. So he's attacking you from range and at the same time attacking you in melee, which I was surprised because I was like, "Well, he's spewing venom up there. I'm gonna close in." It's like, "Oh, no, never mind," because it's like
stay
thrashing
away. The
about and
lizard is
whatnot.
barfing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
What
crazy.
did you think? I 11 out of 10 for me. That was it exceeded all expectations. I was so happy with the fight.
I thought it was a little bit too easy. Like I wanted it to be just a little bit harder because I felt like here's the thing, right? With Gunlance, I always struggle a little bit to get tails, but I still try.
Mm.
And his was like hands down, of any monster that I fought in this whole game, it was the easiest tail chop I've ever had. Because every time he goes down, he's like sitting there for half an hour, and I'm like, just like,
yeah, he gives you a lot of big openings.
Just like slamming on his tail. And I'm actually doing a new build, which I got to tell about. Oh my god, it's so much fun. But so I got him. I didn't think it was too hard. One thing that I want to ask you, because I never fought too much Chameleos. The only Chameleos I fought was GU, and even then, I would only fight Chameleos because one of my friends would need like parts, because for myself, I never needed anything from Chameleos. So it's one of those fights that I kind of like, you know, most of the times I didn't even know what attacks he was going to do because I fought him so little. So first things first, the music. Is that new? Is it a remix? Or what's the deal?
It's a remix. I mean, it's always had that song, but there's a part in the song that is new. It's almost like the main refrain. It's new.
Love it. I love
good.
the music in that fight. The music in that fight is friggin' awesome. I loved it.
We were listening at 2:30 in the morning. We were listening to it in bed. Like, wanted to hear the original one, and she's like, "Wait, it's missing that whole part." I'm like, "Yeah, that's new. That's really good."
Yeah, I think
know
that
which
whole part
composer
that you're
went through
talking
and
about.
redid it, but
yeah, I think that whole part you're talking about, I think that might be my favorite thing about that music. It really, really just slaps now. I friggin' love it. I think it was
the one thing I was. Oh, go ahead.
I think it was a very fun fight overall still. Like, again, I thought it was a little bit easy, but other than that, I had a blast fighting him.
Yeah.
And it's also very satisfying when there's a monster where you can just like break pretty much everything that he's got, because I cracked his wings, I cracked his face, I cracked his like, he was wrecked. By the time that thing was over, there was nothing left. It was like a stain on the floor. Poor Chameleos. But it was so satisfying.
If there was any one part, if I can nitpick the fight for just any good reason, just to critique it, the only thing I wish it would have did more is steal more. Then again, I was playing Insect Glaive, so I wasn't really get in his way, so I don't know how often he steals, but he steals essence from your petalays, which is interesting.
He steals the spirit.
I kind of wish that he stole like a full stack of items. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, like exactly. He should steal items. I was so disappointed because like the first time I fought him, for starters, he didn't land the steal once. And I was like, okay, which is again leads me to the thing. I
thought he steals.
Yeah, but he didn't land it once because I was able to block it every time. But earlier today, I was playing with some friends, and he got a steal off on me, and he stole like a little bit of my stamina or whatever. And I was like, oh, come on, like,
yeah,
take like my mega potions, take one of my charms. That would be hilarious. Like, imagine I'm streaming, somebody's like, you lost your mega charm, huh? And a friend of mine told me that you can actually get the essence back if you hit his head or something. Like,
yeah. So he steals it, and like if you grabbed like an attack, a red spirit bird, he can steal that, and then he gets an attack boost, and then I think you hit him in the head, and then it says you took back the red essence or something like that.
Oh, he gets the buff that he steals from you?
Yeah, he gets the buff. But the thing is, it's not often enough, and it's not big enough that it actually makes a difference in the hunt, which I kind of wish. It makes me think that the eventual master rank or G rank is going to be a really fun one, because I imagine they'll dial that up quite a bit. But if I can nitpick, I wish that was a little bit more.
Yeah, he would steal things more, because like I remember in the lead up, like every time we would have people that never fought Chameleos before, I would always I remember even pausing during this trailer. Like there's a scene where they show the tongue of Chameleos, so I paused and I point at the tongue and I'm like, guys, it's in that tongue right there? That's your power charm right there. No, I was like, that's your power charm.
Oh my gosh.
He's taking your power charm away. But no, he doesn't do it. So I was like, oh, that would have been cool to see him like rip off items from new players that have no idea that stuff can happen.
Your talisman was stolen, and watch everybody be like,
whoa. Okay. See, that's Savage Gaijin coming out again. Okay.
No, I was thinking it'd be really funny if like they just did it as a joke, where they say your talisman was stolen, and then no matter what, they give it back to you at the end of the hunt, like, oh,
Yeah.
he dropped something, or like, but it would just like to make everybody panic. But I guess that would be, you give anxiety attacks to people. And,
Dude, that'd be hilarious. Just like someone running around with their god tier Wex jars, like yoink.
or even just a message saying Chameleos is staring at your talisman. Be careful. Just anything just to like f with the, just mess with the players.
Imagine someone instantly like turning off their switch, like looking at my charm. What the hell are you talking about? Turn that off right now.
Nope. You can't have it.
You can't have my charm. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
so Chameleos hunt was fun.
Chameleos, very fun. Again, just wish it was a little bit harder, but still very, very fun.
Yeah.
After that, I think I did a couple of rampages to check out the new rampage.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. Yeah.
Which one did you did first?
Diablos, of course.
I did Rathalos because I thought he was going to unlock the next upgrade in the Rathalos gun lance, which isn't the case. But still,
sad violin playing.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But first, let's get on with Diablos. You are potentially one of the persons that I know that loves Bloodbath Diablos more than anybody else. How did you like Apex Diablos? He ain't no Bloodbath. I'll tell you that right now. He's a bit of a pushover.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't know how many Apexes you faced outside of a rampage, but they are a pushover because they are in a rampage.
I've fought two of them. They're not. I mean, I guess Rathian was a bit of a pain because too much poison. But other than that, I didn't think they were that hard. The Apex is outside.
I mean, this is also high rank, right? We got to remember that this is not Master J rank. But no, I mean, it's not Bloodbath, but it is very much. It seems inspired.
Yes,
by
it's
Bloodbath.
definitely inspired.
But yeah, I'm a huge lover of the Diablos lines, especially the aggressive ones. So for me, it was like really fun because he moves really fast.
Yeah, he just like zips
the only
whole
thing
place.
the only thing that I think lowered the impact of him a little bit was that me and Yuna have actually tested. I think we talked about this on the podcast. It's really hard to fail a rampage.
Yeah.
So we already, the illusion that, oh my God, he's busting down the gate. The illusion was already busted for us.
Yeah.
We're like, no, that gate is fine. Don't worry about it. Like we didn't panic or anything. But if you didn't know that, and you're like, he has some really fun, he's pretty aggressive. I enjoyed him quite a bit. I was very happy. I just want to fight him outside of a rampage.
I actually found one thing that I found about the rampage is I don't know if they dialed up the aggression of the monsters or not, but I definitely felt like these rampages were not harder, but more annoying. Like they'll get to my weapon way faster and they'll destroy my weapon because I'm doing them solo, right? The first time that I do them, I'm always doing them solo, and then I'll do them with friends. So I think they dialed up the aggression on some of the monsters a little bit. I could be wrong, but
they may have tweaked it because a monster to remain unnamed due to spoilers, but it was the rewards and the classification for that monster was actually lower than Apex Mizutsune, but now they tweaked it so that they're the same. So I think they did some tweaking here and there when it comes to difficulty. But they didn't mention it.
And I think that they nerfed the cannon damage, didn't they?
No. It still does 8,000 or whatever.
No. That's splitting. I'm talking about regular artillery cannons.
No. For us, we didn't notice any difference at all.
I could swear that those cannons did like, didn't they do like 300 damage before, or 200 or something like that? Because now they're doing 55.
Yeah. The regular shots, right?
Yeah, the regular shots 55. I thought I think
more. You might be confusing when the counter gong or the counter signal is up, it changes.
No, not for the artillery pieces. Counter signal doesn't affect artillery pieces as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I don't know. I could swear that the cannons did more damage, but I don't know. Maybe they adjusted the health of the monsters or something.
I'll tell you, me and Yuna, our sweet spot for rampages is 2-player. That is the most fun that we have because we really enjoy going through and clearing the objectives. So we'll handpick ones. We'll look at the random objectives and say, okay, this one seems really fun. Like there's nothing more fun for us, and like, have villagers repel the monsters. So the very first wave, we set up the entire thing with defenders. We'll go in, we'll hit every monster until they get the blue icon, and then we'll sit back and we'll cheer on the defenders so they can kill them. And we get the SS every time, like without question.
But I think in general, 2 players is the sweet spot for most things in Rise. I think it's because, interestingly enough, sometimes I have a harder time dealing with monsters when I'm with another player than when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Because when you're alone, you can more easily predict what the monster is going to do. It becomes easier to like dart around and whatnot. With 2 players, it becomes a little bit harder. So I actually like that. I like playing with 2 players more than soloing. I just solo because that's what a lot of people want me to do. They're like, "Oh, you should solo it first." And I'm like, "Sure." I always do it, so it's fine. I'll do it. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But particularly Rampages, 2 players, I do think it's a sweet spot because just before we were recording in my stream, we were doing a Rampage. There was 3 of us. It was disgusting. Like in some of the waves, the monsters didn't even got to move out of the spawn. Because there was just like 3 of us pelting them with guns, and they were just like tripping and falling and getting debuffs and blah, 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 just like getting completely destroyed. They wouldn't even get out of the first little area. It was insane.
That's hilarious. We've got our pattern down really well. So like we'll start the Rampage and we're immediately units just sitting there constantly spawning and despawning a spot so we can set up the hunting installations.
That objective is so dumb.
And that unlocks the cannons, and she loves the cannons, and I love the ballista. I use that to stun monsters, and then we'll both in the middle. She'll go and get the bow, I'll get a different weapon, and we'll do all the status ailments really fast. And then the thunder, I love the charged thunder on the cannons to give everybody thunderblight, and then you can KO everybody. It's so satisfying.
You can just spam KOs with the friggin' cannons. It's pretty insane.
I don't know. What did you think about Diablos? I enjoyed it quite a bit. But then again, like I said, Rampages are really easy. So to me, it almost feels like an intro to the monster.
Yeah, that's kind of like the problem that I have. Is like, I have memories of Bloodbath Diablos. Like I was telling a friend of mine just the other day about, dude, Bloodbath Diablos has this thing where he roars, and if you don't block that roar, he comes out with a move that you're dead. And it's like, well, this one doesn't really do that. This one didn't really do much. And here's the thing. I made so many mistakes in the Apex Diablos Rampage because, like, I went in there with one weapon and then I was like, oh, I should actually use another weapon. So I go out and I swap weapons. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, I messed up because I didn't put the right switch skills. And I go out and I get the right switch skills. Like, they're thrashing about in the first area and I'm like meddling around with my weapon, making all kinds of mistakes. And then I'm getting thrown around all over the place. And then eventually, I just destroyed him when he showed up because I was playing Stun Lance because in Rampage I like to use Stun Lance, which is the wide shelling gun lance because the worm stake stuns, and so basically I was just like stun to his face, just like basically slapping him with that, and it was fairly easy to just destroy him. Which again, it was one of those things I really wanted him to be harder. Him and Apex Rathalos. I wanted both of them to be harder.
Yeah, I would love to fail a Rampage once, but that was not possible. So it would be nice. But I don't know. Maybe they're just taking it easy because they're afraid that how they might react to the new mode because it's so different. But it would be nice that I'm hoping at least for update 3.0 when we get what I'm assuming from the in-game mural is hinting that it very possibly could be Zenogre. But if they add in another Apex, I want that one to be one where you can actually fail it, like they can actually destroy the gate. That would be nice. For right now, it just seems like I think they were nervous about how people would take it. The fact is that you can't really fail them. You can clear them very fast if you just go in there with like light bowgun and ignore everything and just hit the counter gong and just blow everybody to smithereens. You can clear Rampages in like 7 minutes if you wanted to. But it's much more fun to just sit there and actually do the objectives. And what I was really happy to see was the rewards. They give you 5 or so like of
the outfit
layered armor tickets.
Yeah,
they give you a ton.
I was actually surprised that the layered armor you have to craft each piece individually. Remember how we had this conversation that you thought you had to do that in Iceborne?
I know, right?
And I was like, this time I was like, no, wait, each piece individually? What? Why? I want to craft the whole set, not one piece. And then it's like they give you 3. And I was like, dude, this is not even enough to make one set. Like, what do you mean?
But then they shower you with them.
Yeah, they shower you with this stuff.
You get those after every hunt. You get a ton of them if you do a rampage. So like I think that's a good system. That's really nice of them.
Yeah, and you know the actually let's start with you. Which one was the first layered armor that you crafted?
Of course, the shelled one, the summer bikini with the dress. I love that outfit. I color coded to all my weapons as well. How about you? What did you make? You were really excited to finally get away from that Renoplos or whatever.
Yes. I mean, I've been using
Big Daddy from BioShock.
I've been using the like the layered armor from the Lux set, which Sox was kind enough to send me some codes for that. So I've been using a mix of that and the armor that you get from Magnamalo, which actually looked really good. So I was okay. But, you know, if I ever removed my layered armor, it would look terrible. But one armor that I really wanted to make, and that I did get to make, was the Tetranodon. I made Tetranodon armor. It made my character look like Doom Guy. And I was like, this is perfect. My character just looked like Doom Guy for a while. And I was like, I love this. This is friggin' fantastic. And yeah, that was the first one that I crafted. And then I noticed that I had a bunch of tickets and started crafting other stuff. But
it's
going back to Apex's, Rathalos. Rathalos was the first one that I did.
Yeah, start and tell us about it.
I was super excited to check it out because I'm a huge fan of Rathalos. You know, Rathalos, one of the most iconic monsters of the franchise. I'm a basic bitch, I know, but still, I was super excited about Rathalos, and Rathalos is actually my favorite Apex up until this point because his entrance, he's got the best entrance of any Apex. Like even of that other boss, you know, one of the damn it. I'm trying to say it in a non-spoiler. The blue boss, everybody knows which one I'm talking about. Even more magnificent than his entry, Rathalos just like gets in there and is like, you just see a little fireball coming up real slow.
Justice reigns from above.
And then he just like, the thing explodes. Boom! Splitting wyvern shot. All your defenses go down on that one spot. And then 2 more balls drop and you're like, no! And everything explodes.
I saw the first bomb go. I'm like, holy crap! And then I'm like, okay, I'm safe over here. And then boom! I'm like, what the hell? He's blowing up everything.
He just blows up everything, and then he just casually strolls through the first gate. Like the first gate gets destroyed.
It is kind of ironic, right? It's a gate that's stopping a flying monster. I always find that hilarious.
Yeah,
he could just fly over to Kamura Village and destroy it if he wanted to.
But still, it was so fun that basically he just destroys everything. So like you're making all these plans, putting all these things down. Apex Rathalos comes in, everything goes away. And the gate, I think the gate just gets insta-gibbed. Like he doesn't even stop at the gate. Most of the other monsters, they'll like stop at the gate for a little bit to break it or something.
No,
Apex Rathalos
he's like, see ya.
He's just like, bye, I'm going. Flies on to the
I almost think it'd be funny.
area.
It's like, what happens if like when right before he comes, everyone just leaves and goes to the second area because they know he's coming.
I think it's actually the best thing to do, to be honest.
Strategy,
like set up your defenses, but then just leave because like Apex Rathalos just shreds everything, goes through.
But then again, you wouldn't be able to get to see it, and the spectacle is great.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So that was amazing. And then he does it again in the second area, but there's the tell, which was the thing that I was asking you about, that crazy roar that he did where he's like sitting there, brah. That's him charging up that attack, and you can interrupt it. So
Diablos did that, and I'm like, what are you yelling about, boy? Yeah. And we killed him. I was like, shut up.
I got to see him do the attack the first time because I was a little bit overwhelmed by all the crazy moves that he was pulling off, and I was like, Jesus Christ! So that's what that friggin' crazy roar does, just like bombs exploding all over the place. All
So
the
this is another one where
disappearing.
I did not feel too much reference at all to Dread King, which I was very happy about actually.
No,
He felt very unique. He felt very much his own thing.
I feel like Apex Diablos had more references to the Bloodbath than
Yeah.
Rathalos here to Dread King for sure. But his fight was fun. I liked it because I just like seeing Rathalos fight. And he, out of all of the Apexes, now I think Rathian is still like the one to me that is the hardest one. The hardest one of like the Rampage bosses. What's yours? I mean, I say hardest one. Again, you
Yeah.
can't. It's very hard to fail a Rampage, but like still, the one that's more annoying to deal with, I think it's Rathian.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Rathan can be quite a handful, especially because you want to cut that tail off.
Yeah.
And man, she does not want to give you that tail. Well, she
Nope.
wants to give it to you, just not that way. You know, it's like
She'll give you the tail, just not in the way that you want. Hell, she does nothing else
Exactly.
but give you the tail straight to the face.
whammo.
But yeah, those were the new rampages with Apex, Rathalos, and Diablos. There's a couple of more. I haven't done the other ones, the advanced ones that come with new monsters like Almudron and Magnamalo and whatnot. I haven't done those. Have you done those?
Oh, Magnamalo is really fun in a rampage. Really fun. So he appeared and he was huge. And it actually pops up like an extra objective, at least it did for us, where it's an extra objective saying repel Magnamalo, because I think the game makes him. I think their idea was that they made it so hard to do it that you might not be able to complete the objective before he runs away, maybe.
Mm.
But he comes in there and he starts going absolute ape shit. And so everyone he came in like I think the first or second wave for us. Like he didn't wait until the end. He would be really fun if he started coming in during the Apex. Oh my gosh, that would be funny.
No, but
But
wait a minute.
he
He can show up during Apexes?
I thought they showed that in the trailer. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
That would be fun though, wouldn't it?
It would be fun, but I think he has his own thing. That's why it's a two-stage rampage, isn't it? At least I think Almudron's was a
I don't
two-stage
know.
rampage.
He wasn't even listed, and he just popped in, or maybe he was listed. We didn't notice it because he wasn't on the icons, and he just popped in there, and they're like, new objective, repel Magnamalo. I'm like, what? The big boy's here, and we had a lot. We got him, and it was really fun, and it was exciting because you got all these other monsters, and you're like, everyone, ignore them all. Like we're going after Maggie.
Just
like
straight
he's
Maggie.
going down.
Yeah.
And he's like hitting everyone with his tail and going crazy. We had a counter up, so like the counter signal, so we were able to own him pretty easily. But I thought that was really exciting. And Almudron also popped up in some of our rampages, and he's fun.
Yeah, Almudron I haven't seen. Dude, today I've actually been optimizing my gunline set, and I needed a piece from Almudron. And I needed his tail. And his tail is a complete pain to get. And I was like, nope. Hey, I'm going to go in there with my gun lance and I'm going to chop his tail. And I chop his tail.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going in there with my light bowgun. Enough of this BS.
No. I don't even have a light bowgun set I don't have any ranged weapon set. But I went in there and it was actually the weak gun lance because it was the updated Rachna Kadaki gun lance because I wanted to test the Silkbind boost with my new build because I'm actually using Hail Cutter, which is the less optimal thing for the gun lance. But I was able to chop his tail with a weak gun lance, which was very, very, very satisfying, but super frustrating because, like, you know how he arcs his tail to one side? So
Yeah.
I always notice that, but I never noticed that he swaps the side that he's arcing the tail to. I always thought that he
So
swapped
you're
it to
always
the
going
same.
to the wrong one.
So I would go I would go to the right one, and he's just like, well, I'm gonna arc my tail this way now, and I'm like, dude, what do you mean?
It reminds me of like when you're walking down the crosswalk and you're like you see somebody and you try to like go left and they go left and you're like ah.
It's kind of the same thing, but the opposite because I'm actually trying to go the same direction.
I tell you, just grab a light bowgun, use some slicing ammo. It's like I don't care where your tail is, it's popping off.
Yeah, But no, I had to do it with the Gunlance. That's actually part of the fun is like even when you have a bad matchup, which I think that Almudron Gunlance is a terrible matchup. It's like overcoming that. I find that very sad. So I was like, I'm chop this tail if I have to hit it until you die. You're either dying or this tail's coming off. And even then, I'm still going to kill you. I'm still going to kill you at the end because I don't care. But yeah, that's something that I did for Almudron today. It was very satisfying because I think it was the first time that I chopped this tail. Because Almudron's tail is a pain to chop off.
Yeah, it feels good when you get it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, he still has a tail. What is that?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to actually just chop like a big slice of meat. I was actually talking to people. I think it would be amazing if Almudron had like 2 modes of combat, where one is when he has the tail, and then you actually chop off the tail right where, at the edge of his body, and you would get like that big slab of meat. That'd be awesome. And then he could use like, maybe you would get a little stub, and that stub could work like a cannon that would squirt mud at you or something. Like that golden mud that he's got. And then he would have like a more ranged play style. I think that would be awesome. Almudron. Not to mention, imagine a player's satisfaction when he just cuts off a slab of meat that big from a monster. That's a big old slab. Chuck.
I want to see it cut off with the big ball that it has. It was still intact, just sitting there. And then at the very end, I want to see those little like bugs come that push the poop, and I want to see them start pushing it away.
Just roll away Almudron's ball.
Yeah, it's a big piece of dung. Come on, boys.
Oh my god, that'd be friggin' awesome. But yeah, so those were the other rampages, Almudron and Maggie. I don't know if there was any other monster that was added to the rampages beside those two. I can't really remember of anything else.
There is, but we won't name.
Oh yeah. There's that one as well. But yeah, we won't talk about that one.
Yeah.
So then
here's a weird question for you. Actually, I'm curious. In one of the new quests, I think it was a new quest. There was a Rajang in the Frost Isles or Islands or whatever. Is it the
one where you have to capture him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he stronger than normal, or did he have more HP than normal? Because it actually took me and Yuna a little bit of time to get him.
I don't know. But it's interesting that you say that because some of the new quests, something about them felt a little bit off this morning. Like, for me, the Rajang, I don't think it felt too different than what I expected. But then again, this was a Rajang that I hunted last night at like 3 a.m. or something like that. So I probably wouldn't be able to tell you if it felt particularly different. But this morning, me and a friend of mine, we went and we did one of the Utsuchi challenges, which was the one with Magnamalo and Narga. Magnamalo and Narga. And for starters, I didn't have my armor fully upgraded with the new upgrade levels yet, but like Maggie just one-shotted me. I was like, excuse me? So that was something that was very surprising to me. He just like straight up one-shotted me with one of his blasts. So I don't know where that came from.
I think they're tweaking the values on
they might. But after that, Maggie went pretty much normal. But after that, when we went to Narga, and Narga was particularly noticeable because the night before, we were farming Narga for him because he needed stuff from Narga. So we remembered exactly what Narga was like. That Narga was on steroids. Like, I don't know what was going on. We couldn't stagger him. He wouldn't stop for anything. He was just like, boom, boom, damage,
tail slams push, for days, man.
Just like, he almost destroyed us. Like, I think we both carded once, but we were able to pull through at the end. But I was surprised that I think there might have been some tweaking of values. And something weird that happened. This was very weird. And it could be me going completely crazy. But so in my build, before updating it today with some of the new sets, I didn't used to have guard in my gunlance. So, I always know when an attack, because, due to the amount of hours that we've played, I always know when an attack that I'm going to get hit, if it's going to send me back or not, right? If it's something that I'm going to be able to just block or if it's going to send me back. And like 99% of Magnamalo's attacks, they send you back. when you're blocking without guard. There's no chance. And that Magnamalo in that quest, I blocked his roar, I blocked his tail slam, and didn't even budge. So I'm like, this is weird. I don't know what's going on here, but there's something really weird. I even, in the middle of the quest, I even went to the status. Do I have Iron Wall on this set? Like, what's going on? No, nothing. So I was able to block some stuff without getting sent reeling that I did not expect. So I don't know if those are things that they're tweaking as well or not. Or maybe I'm just going crazy and I was able to block those before, but I don't think so. Because like the big tail slam that he does, that he goes up in the air and then just like blam, slams the tail on you. Just block that with no guard. Like, no, that's not how it works. You get sent back. Your stamina, you get a huge stamina, decrease and whatnot. But nope, just blocked it, no problem. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're tweaking the numbers, which is good because we do need more challenge for sure.
Yeah, I really wish. I'm gonna have to go on the internet later and check. I'm on the internet now. I need to. I sound like an old guy. I got to go on the internet later.
Gotta get on that internet there. Gonna turn on the modem.
Dial up.
My dial-up connection, my 56K.
Yeah, I gotta get on, and there's a few armor sets that I had that had the little new icon on them when I went to the armory. I'm like, why are they like the Ragna Kadaki one? I'm like, did they change something on these sets? Like, why is that marked as new?
I thought that. I mean, I noticed that as well. I noticed that a lot of the sets were marked as new, and I was like, what's going on here?
Yes, I want to go in there and see, like, did they tweak something? Did they add something? I don't know.
I don't think they changed. I don't think they changed like skills or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
I have no idea.
But that was one of the weird things. But
yeah, the Atsuchi challenges, I'll have to check that out later with a lance and see what happens. And, when I fight my Royal Ludroth and Gyarados.
People are going insane about that. They're like, "Oh, did you guys notice the names are changed?" It's like, guys, it's a copy paste mistake. I do it all the time in my video descriptions.
It's a really funny one because I saw it in Japanese. And I
is it wrong in Japanese as well?
No, I feel bad for the team because I can already imagine how it happened, because the Japanese is usually something generic like just defeat all the target monsters. They're not actually listing them. And they're probably, when they translated, they probably didn't know that the developer was going to use that string in other places. And so they probably just translated how it made sense in context for one of the occurrences. And then it just got used all over the place. And
there's a quest with those
harmless, cute little bug. Yeah. I thought it was funny.
There's another quest with those two monsters that I was even looking for it last night when people pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, they just copy pasted the text from this one and put it in all of the Utsuchi quests and then never fixed it. Which again is something that I do in my videos all the time. So I was like, yeah, it's a copy paste mistake. Then I didn't even think twice about it.
I made a bunch of tweets. I went onto the website, and you could just have fun messing with the HTML and renaming text on the website. And I took the Magnamalo and I renamed it Royal Ludroth. I was having a lot of fun with it.
Royal Ludroth,
it's a cute
except
mistake.
with Hellfire. Royal Ludroth
exactly.
With Hellfire. But anyways,
I think the next one was Kushala.
Kushala Daora, which I'm happy to report, it's a fantastic fight this time around. Thank God. Good God. Kushala used to be such a pain for Blade Masters in World. I mean,
Insect Glaive.
Depending on Insect Glaive. Depending on whether or not, I guess during World it wasn't as bad because you could just flash him. In World you could just flash him out of the air. It wasn't really a problem.
You can't flash anybody in this game.
You can't? I haven't even tried, to be honest.
No. When you flash people out of the air, they get up right away. You don't get big downs.
You don't get
flash
big downs.
Is powerful, but you don't get the big downs.
But the thing is, I actively avoid flashing now. You want to know why? Because the reason why I flashed in World is because I didn't have the tools to take the fight to them.
now you're like, I'm going
And
up
now
there.
I
You
do.
wanna go? Okay.
And now
You
I
want to do that?
So it's like every time they're in the air, I'm like, I can fly too. It's not a problem. So I always just take the fight to them. It's like, want to fight in the air? I'll fight in the air. And it's funny as hell. Listen, I got to tell you, we got to take a small break from talking about the update. I got to tell you about this thing that I did with the Gunlands. It's so brutal. So the Gunlands has 2 Silk Mine moves, and it's offensive. The ones that you can swap between, right? Then the other one is the Guard Edge, the counter that it has.
Yeah.
So those 2 moves are Ground Splitter, and what Ground Splitter does is you basically charge towards the monster. It's kind of like the Switch Axe skill, the Invincible Gambit. So like you can't be stopped unless you get stunned or parried or something like that. You can't be stopped. You go through and you hit the monster with 1 attack, and then you can follow up that with either an instant stake, which with the fast animation for the worm stake, or with a slam. It's a really good move. It's fantastic. And the cool thing about it is that every time that you do it, you get a buff to your shells for 30 seconds. They deal 20% more damage. Average, because it changes depending on... So for someone that loves shelling, that is like hands down the best. And even just in general for Gunlance, I really do think that Ground Splitter is the best choice that you can have. Because you can use it during roars, and the roar won't stop you, and you get the opening for the fast worm stake. You can use it during attacks. You can use it whenever you want. It only costs 1 wire bug. It's perfect. And it buffs your shells afterwards. It even buffs like your Wyvern Fire. Imagine your Wyvern Fire dealing 20% more damage per tick. It's a lot. So Ground Splitter is amazing, and so all of my builds I've been using Ground Splitter. And so before this update launches, I was experimenting, and I was like, okay, let's do something with Hail Cutter just to see what that's like. And so Hail Cutter has this interesting thing that you can use it from the air. So Hail Cutter is a move that, you know, your character jumps up in the air, does a hit going up, and then reloads the gun lance, and there's a slam coming down, and that slam reduces the cooldown on your Wyvern Fire. So my idea was, okay, so get a long shelling gun lance, a level 5, so it had to be the Howitzer, and then just like chase after monsters with Hail Cutter and do as many Wyvern Fires as possible. And so I start playing with that, and then I'm like, what if I used elemental gun lances just to have the elemental damage? Because, I mean, the game is not even that hard to begin with, so I don't need shelling level 5. Sure, the Wyvern Fire will do less damage, but it's not the end of the world. And so I started doing that, and I started getting used to it. So now, the way that I would always approach a monster, this is really funny. So the monster's sitting in front of me. So what I'll do is I'll Wyvern Fire diagonally to the left of the monster. Not Wyvern Fire, Blast Dash. Diagonally to the left. So there goes my guy. Pew! And then I'll Wyvern Fire diagonally to the right, just in case the monster charges at you or anything, right? I'm not in the middle of the line of fire. So I'll go diagonally to the right. So I go like, pew, pew. And then when I get to the monster, I'll shell once in the air, and then I'll pop the Hail Cutter from the air, which reloads the gun lance, hits the monster in the face for a reasonable amount of damage and full burst. And that's just been crazy. That's all I've been doing. Like you tune into my live
stream. I saw
stream.
you do that the other day on the stream, and it was like, that is a unique place. That is a unique play style. You're playing aerial gunlance.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's so much fun. It is insane. So this Kushala, that's basically how I fought him. I was like, phew, 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 phew. So Kushala goes one way, I go another, then I jump back, and it's friggin' crazy. I loved it. And the fight was very, very good because we no longer have to worry as much about just like, oh, we're just going to fill the screen with tornadoes all the time, which was annoying. It was not even that it was hard. It was just annoying that it would be tornadoes everywhere.
Well, it's because they persisted so much, right?
Yeah.
And now it's more of an attack than it is a persistent thing.
Yeah. So that was really cool, and it made me really happy that they changed that. I'm hearing that gunners are now having a harder time dealing with Kushala, which was surprising for me. I was like, really? Gunners are now having problems?
Didn't they have a hard time with Kushala in World as well?
No, they would stick him in the face.
I guess, yeah. I guess if you can't hit the face.
They would stick you in the face.
I mean, I went in there with my favorite Chameleos, Insect Glaive. So I'm happy to report that if you poison it, it does help suppress its tornadoes, and especially the black colored tornadoes. So they brought that back, which is good.
That was cool. I love the fact that they did that because I never liked Elder Seal. I thought Elder Seal was weird and unreliable, and it was just the thing that I didn't like. And so Kushala got a new attack. He got Alatreon's Dragon Stomp thing.
Yeah, he got a bunch of new attacks, actually. I'm really surprised at how many new things they gave him.
Yeah, they pretty much...
The Dragon Stomp confused me. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then Yuna's sitting there complaining, like, I don't have null berries on me. I'm like, why do you need a null berry? She's like, look at me, I'm Dragon Blighted. I'm like, what?
Okay, how does Yuna not carry 10 null berries in her item loadout? You
I know, it's so...
Like, what's going on?
I think she took that out because she doesn't like taking things into fights that she doesn't need. So she has different item loadouts. I don't care. I just have like the all-purpose set.
Yeah.
So she doesn't like to do that, which is fair. And so she didn't have them. So we're like, okay, quick, north wall. And we could run up the wall and I give her my 10. And like, she's like, how about you? I'm like, I'm using poison. I'm fine. She is having a hard time with Kushala because and you're going to love this, she's been playing a lot of longsword. She's very much right now in the dating phase of longsword. She's very much loving it. I know. But longsword is good when you know the monster, right? She does not know Kushala. So every time she tries to pull off the spirit round slash, Kushala's moving out of the way. She can't pull off nothing. And I keep telling her, just change to the Sakura slash. Boom, you gotta level up. She's like, no, even as a translator, I don't know how to translate it properly, but she's like, there's no glory in doing that. So she says, I will never touch that skill.
Oh my God. There's no glory in Sakura slash.
Well, in Japanese, you say roman ganai, and roman, like there's no romantic element to it, which is like glory. She's like, I'm never using that move. She's like, you got to build up your meter, and then you're going to use it to punish the monster. She's like, if you're just going to press a button and get a level up, she's like, nah, there's no glory in that, so I'm not touching it. I'm like, I'm telling you, you'd have a much easier time.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so she kind of had a rough time because I think she just doesn't know the monster. And I was like, if you just pick up the Insight Glaive, it's easy and it's fun. But she's not touching the Insight Glaive this time, even though it was her main in World. She does not like the fact that, and I agree with her in this point, that it's missing the weight that it had, like the weight of the attacks, like the way. Just the feeling of it, right? Like the weight of the jumps and the hits feels different. It feels much more lighter in this game, which I'm used to. She's not. She didn't like it at all. So she's like, I'm not touching the weapon.
Get that diving wyvern in there. It feels really weighty when you hit that chunky 800 damage.
even then though, like the impact when you hit the ground, you don't feel it like you do in World. There's something that they did in World with that was just, I don't know if it was screen shake or if they're doing hit stops or something, but there's something they did that made it feel heftier. But the damage is really nice.
Yep.
But so she was not a huge fan of Kushala, so she had to take an hour, almost a full hour break afterwards.
Damn. That really
she was
stressed
just
her
like,
out.
she was just like, ugh. And what stressed her out even more was the fact that Kushala's armor and the decorations you make with it are all really good.
Yep.
Really good, and especially
very good.
One of her favorite armor skills is back, but it's on Kushala.
Is it the super regen?
Yeah, it's the Valve.
Yeah, Kushala
So
gets
she was just like,
Val's bonuses.
She was scoffing left and right, and I'm like, I'm enjoying the fight. But what I enjoyed doing it solo though, because I was able to see a few moves that we didn't get to see because we were flinching him.
Yeah.
He actually has like a super, like, he charges up and he suctions you in like sort of like a Matsu does. It's like a vacuum.
Yep.
And he sucks you in and then he does this huge like tornado. But I never saw that the first time.
Yeah, the first time that I fought him, I didn't see it either. The first time that I did him was solo, and I was able to just beat the crap out of him with my fancy new playstyle. But when I went with my friends, I don't know if it was I don't know why, but he was able to do that attack that you just described. And I was caught completely off guard. I was like, what's this? I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
I see my character getting sucked in. I'm like, what the hell? So I do a Superman dive to see if I can avoid the damage, but I did it too soon. And I still took the full brunt of the tornado damage. But give me that attack even like 5 times per fight over like filling the room with tornadoes. Like that's fine.
I love the new one that he does though, where he sets it up and it's like, he summons like 6 tornadoes and they all go like, whee! It looks so cool. I'm just like, me and Una were both whipping out the camera and we're taking pictures and like we're getting hit because we're taking pictures. And I'm like, I don't care.
Dude, you want to know the really fun thing about those tornadoes? The first time that he did that, I was in the middle of doing a blast dash and I was able to angle my way to go in between the tornadoes. I was like,
oh, that is awesome.
Yes.
Tornado Alley, bring it. Obstacle course.
Pretty much. Is so much fun.
For people who haven't seen it, like go watch Rurikhan's videos and streams. Your play style is very fun. Just watching it was really interesting. And it just shows that you don't always just need to go for the max DPS and always the head. Like you fly. And it's really fun to watch. And
it's like, let me tell you right now, I definitely, people might wonder, but is that something that you're going to be fast? Nope. You're not going to be, but it's so much fun to fly. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. I'll take the extra minute, or two. That's no big deal.
Not to mention that there's something that I really like, which is I don't have to manage the ground splitter buff. Because when you have ground splitter, you're always thinking, okay, I got to do ground splitter so that I get my buff. It has to be like the first thing that you do every single time, even if it's not the most optimal thing, because otherwise your shells aren't doing as much damage. And with hail cutters, like, doesn't matter because it doesn't buff my damage. The only thing that matters, like, try to keep Wyvern Fire on a cooldown. I'm like, you want me to Wyvern Fire more? That just sounds like fun. I love Wyvern Fire.
So I'm gonna. Do you have Wirebug Whisper on?
Of
level
course,
3 on that thing?
Of course.
But then again, you're never on the ground, so I don't know if you're getting the full benefit of it.
It also counts for your moves. So like recovery of wire bugs for special attacks, it also helps with that. That's the main reason why I did it.
Nice.
So that
it's
great. It's very small. It's very, very small, but it's a little bit. And I was like, okay, I just want to do hail cutters. I want to do more hail cutters until the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's really fun when you do nail the hail, because it's actually really hard sometimes if a monster is moving around for you to keep in your mind where the monster is. Because it's not like I can turn the camera, because that will mess up my sense of direction where I'm aiming the blast dashes. So I have to like kind of predict. And every time that I nail it, I'm like, so nice.
That's what I like about the Switch skills and stuff, is that it's the way that you chain stuff together can create some really fun things.
Yeah. It's
like the first time, a Switch Axe user realizes they can use the Soaring Wyvern right after a zero sum. you can't go back after that.
It's so good. Yeah, it's been pretty wild. So yeah, Kushala, I thought was really fun.
What did you do post Kushala?
Post Kushala, I farmed the mystery monster a significant amount off stream, because I wanted to do the armor set. And good God, for those of you who know what we're talking about, you'll know how happy I am.
Yeah. It's a good set. It's a good set.
It's a good set. But
I think HR 40 is the next next milestone, right?
HR 40, then you get Teostra. So
actually, before we go to Teostra, I gotta mention the new decorations that you unlock every time you hit one of these new monsters.
Yep.
Like, there's some nice decos. Like, there's the level 2 weakness exploit. There's the level 2 slap for critical boost. There's a level 3 one for handicraft.
What did you think about that, actually? I meant to ask, like, what did you think about weakness exploit still being a tier 2?
I think it's fine. I mean, there's not that many level 3 slots in the game anyway, so.
I thought it should have been a level 3, because I feel like they made it hard enough for you to get weakness exploit and critical boost that I thought that they were going to make it a level 3, the decos.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Hey, the most useless skill in the game, Jump Master, is a level 3.
That's so dumb. Like, I actually watched the video from
Paradise.
From Paradise in 269.
That was a good video, yeah.
That was a very good video because, like, I was also curious because I was thinking about Jump Master because I'm flying around and doing hail cutters and constantly getting knocked off the air. So I was thinking maybe I should work in Jump Master in my set. And then I watched their video where they were like, "We don't know what this skill does." And then eventually did the other video. Oh yeah, you get tier 1 flinch free when you're in the air, and it's just like. You can get flinch free forever with a tier 1 deco as opposed to a tier 3. How does that even make sense? I don't understand.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. And there's others like, did you know that Mushroom-mancer is now tier 3? It's tier 3 deco. Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's crazy about Mushroom-mancer, and he's like super disappointed because like he can't do his Mushroom-mancer builds that he used to have in World. And I think that wide range is like tier 2 or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they made it.
I guess
they made it harder to like do that stuff. I don't know why. It's weird because I didn't think it was that overpowered. You think there were maybe too many hero builds? Wait.
I just want to make that level 1 handicraft deco. Man, is it hard to make? It asks you for. I think it wants like Kushala horns. It wants a Magnamalo purple orb. It wants all sorts of stuff. It wants like 8 of that new rare like jewel and everything. I'm just like, damn. But the thing is, like, I use, as you know, the Raging Claws for dual blades. It's got, and I use that with handicraft level 1 because I use protective polish and that gives me white sharpness. It's got a level 3 slot in the weapon. So all I gotta do is, if I can make one handicraft deco, that opens up an entire new armor piece for me, an entire piece. So I'm like, ooh. And I'm very happy that the decorations this time are like, they are the harder thing. Like making armor is not that hard this time, but making decos, like that's a grocery list. Like that is, that's a commitment. And I like that.
Interestingly enough,
Damascus is nice.
For me, when it came to decorations, the most important one is probably one that most people don't care about. I was like, oh, razor sharp decoration. Oh,
I know, yeah. Because you're always one level off from having. It really messes up your set when you need to have level 3 because there's a few good pieces with 2 levels and you're like, ah.
And that
there's
piece,
enough
by the
decos
way,
out there.
And that piece, by the way, turns out because I never crafted that piece, but that piece turns out to be one of my favorite chest pieces in the game. I really like the way it looks on my character. Almudron's chest piece looks like freaking Iron Man. He's got like the glowy thing in the chest and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, I'm freaking Iron Man. It's amazing. So I've been rocking that. It's actually, that's another thing that I really love is like they've enabled layered armor, and I'm not using layered armor.
It's so
and
funny.
My character looks amazing.
I can fashion hunt without that feature.
Exactly. Oh, so good. But
so
you were saying? You were talking about Damascus.
I'm really happy with.
You're talking about Damascus. Damascus.
Oh yeah, no, Damascus is a great set. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got tons of handicraft and earplugs.
Handicraft 2 on the legs.
Damn, dude. Like I thought it was gonna have handicraft, but I was just like surprised at how much. Tons of handicraft.
Yeah, I don't do many like affinity, critical boost, and all that. I like to do the handicraft sets. There's a lot of weapons that get white sharpness at very high raw if you use handicraft. You're not going to be able to fit in like crit boost and stuff like that, but it's still really fun. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. But oh man, there's just so much in the game. I'm losing track of my thoughts here. So I was gonna ask, this is something that I think is a fair criticism, but I'm also curious about your thoughts about this, which is dedicated Apex armor and the lack thereof.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, but I've got some thoughts that I want to share in this one, but I'm curious.
I was surprised that there wasn't because I remember Ichinozi saying that there was. I think he specifically said in one of his interviews, he said or was it with one of the Eric's interviews? I don't remember, but I think it was one of the interviews where he said something in the lines of Apex monsters will have like new armor sets.
Gear?
It might have that might have been the translation thing, like new gear or they unlock new things or whatever. But the idea that it passed was that they were going to have their own armor sets, or at least if they didn't have armor sets, maybe at least have a couple of weapons here and there. I think that would have been interesting. But the fact that they don't has a lot of people like frustrated, and I can understand because the advantage there is that you can basically go and you can get their materials without doing the rampages. I guess that's the only thing, right? And you get the new things like the new jewels and the outfit stuff and whatnot, right? That's kind of like what you can get from those quests. But to me, I also think that it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to fight the apexes outside of the thing. And then I had a lot of people come back and say, why would I want to fight the apexes outside of the ring? They're not going to give me anything. And I was like, make up your mind.
It's fun.
Do you want to fight them or not? Like, what do you want?
It's a fun challenge.
Yeah, I do it for the challenge. Like, I like fighting them. I think it's fun. I think it's good to be able to have that one-on-one experience with the Apex. Like, Rathian kicked my ass. She's one of the toughest fights as far as I'm concerned in the game right now. Her and Teo, but yeah.
So I'm curious about your thoughts on this, but I will say that I wish, in the end, I do wish that they would have given the Apex some more motivation to hunt them, like some armor stuff. But then I started thinking about it as a lot more last night and trying to say, okay, well, that's a criticism or that's something I was disappointed by myself, and I'll admit that. But I was like, given the way that they structured the game, though, it kind of makes sense why they didn't, because like we were talking about, the rampages, you have to try very hard to fail those. Mm-hmm. So if they made Apex armor, they couldn't make it that good because it would be the easiest armor to make in the game, pretty much.
Yeah, because you could just go to the rampages.
Do a rampage, and
but the thing is, you could have done just like you could get unique materials to craft the armor from the non-rampage events.
Well, they could have went back to like tickets or something, right? Like Apex ticket, and that gives you the thing. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I wish they did it, and I hope that they take that feedback, and I hope if they do like a master rank version, that's something that they add in. That would be very nice.
Yeah, I think.
But I also like I'm feeling really good with the armor this time. Like I feel like there's a really good balance between the armor sets. I feel that they all serve as a very good template for different weapons. Like each one has its very specific, like thing, right? I don't feel there's too much of an overlap of concepts between the armors this time. I don't know. That's how I feel, at least.
I don't know what you're talking about. Have you seen the Teostra set? Let's talk about Teostra. Let's talk about Teostra before we talk about his set. So Teostra, Teostra was like a wall for me the first time that I fought him in World, because not really a wall, but like it was one of those hunts where I definitely failed hard the first time that I fought him, and then I was like, oh yeah. I was so pissed off that I failed the first time that I fought him that I was like, oh yeah. I went and I crafted the Damascus set in World because it had a ton of defense up. And then I went and I fought him with like maximum defense, maximum health, maximum just like everything. I had everything maxed out in terms of defense, and I beat the crap out of him in a long hunt. It was a long hunt because I had no damage, but I just beat him dead slowly but painfully. So that was my story with him in World. But in here, now I'm more familiar with Teostra. I love what they've done with him. Like, I think he's much more interesting now than he was in World, and that's the case for a lot of monsters. I feel like the way that he does his attacks and the spectacle of the fight itself, like how he puts those two little dust bubbles and then he jumps back. And then he jumps for an attack, and just as he hits you, the dust bubbles explode at the same time. Like, I think that is really well done, and there's a ton of stuff like that throughout the fight. And it is impressive to me that, like, on the PlayStation 4 Pro, for instance, when you were fighting Lunastra, and she starts going with her particle effects and whatnot, like, the game, the console would take a dump. For starters, it was already an airplane every time that you were doing the Lunastra fight to begin with. But whenever she started going crazy, you would even see like dynamic resolution happening and the resolution going down, and still the console wouldn't be able to handle it. And the Switch It's just sitting there. Yeah, throw all these particle effects at me. I don't care. And they look better. That's the word. They even look better than in World. Like, I think the particle effects on Teostra in Rise look better than in World. And it's amazing. And it doesn't even, like, slow up or anything. It's like, fine. 3 players hacking away at Teostra while he's doing all of his crazy particle effects. And the game's just like, yeah, this is fine. Not a problem. Like, that's some friggin' black magic they got on RE
It's
Engine.
amazing.
Like, what the hell?
I mean, take off the Joy-Cons on your Switch and look at how big that console really is. It's amazing. And look at the specs that machine has. And then like, how did they get that running on it? Oh my gosh. I really like the Teostra fight because Teostra, it's kind of like Rajang, where I think some people just naturally find the monster pretty easy, and some people just have a hard time with them, at least at first. Teostra's been my comfy monster. I've always had a very easy time with the monster. Like, I've done self-challenges of no damage runs against it, and I'm not that good of a player. It's just one of those monsters that gels really good with my playstyle. So I've always had an easy time with him, but I was really pleased to see that even as someone who loves the monster to death and is very good at how to approach him, even with all the new moves, they still retain the same elements. Like, I could still play it the way that I know how to play him, and it works. And so I was having a good old time because I love doing Hunting Horn against him. It's always been one of my favorite things because his head is just perfectly set up for all the smacks. And he gives you so many openings for the head, especially if you have evade extender. So that fight was just an absolute joy for me. It was, today we're going to farm him. I'm sure we're going to make all this stuff because he was fun. And I love the new fire effects. They feel cartoony in a way. It feels like a flamethrower. But did you get to see a supernova? Because we didn't.
Yes.
Nice.
It's really cool. But it's not. I think it has less range than the one in World. At least I felt like that. I felt it wasn't quite as wide reaching because, like, I think I dodged maybe like 3 times or something, and I was already out of range. So it was cool.
But the one thing I like about that fight, and this is the same with the Kushala one, is that we hunters have a new weapon. And that is Magnamalo. oh my lord. Like, up until now, when you see him in the field, you're like, oh god, this can be kind of a pain in the butt. Nope, when you see him now, that is a hard weapon waiting to be utilized because they trigger their turf wars really fast. Like, they really don't like each other.
Yeah.
The moment Magnamalo comes into an arena with an Elder Dragon, they're like, let's go, and they go fight right away. And Magnamalo pwns them all, and I just love how he targets one player with it, and he comes down, and you got to do the Superman dive. And the thing is that he immediately puts himself in a mountable state when he does it. So you can immediately mount him afterwards and then do it again to the monster. So it's like Teostra gets owned by him, and then you get on him, and you're like, I'm going to do more. And then you own him more. It's like, and then Magnamalo just kindly goes away. And it's just like, I love you. You are like our secret weapon.
I do find it weird that it does look like Magnamalo wins, but then you can mount Magnamalo, which almost indicate that he lost. It's like,
it's a draw, yeah.
It's kind of weird. And I was almost wondering, like, should Magnamalo be able to beat Teostra, the King of Blast? Like, is that he's an Elder Dragon? It's, like, Magnamalo's not even an Elder Dragon.
Yeah, how do you feel about the fact that you can mount Elder Dragons?
Yeah, that's also kind of weird. The fact that you can mount them and actually control an Elder Dragon.
Yeah,
I feel like
it takes some of the grand mythos. It takes a little bit of that away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Not to mention that they're not even at least Kushala. I mounted Kushala. I don't know if I mounted Teostra. I don't think I mounted Teostra.
Kushala's so fast.
I thought Kushala was kind of like meh. His moves, I didn't really like him very much personally.
He's so fast. You can run around the entire Frost region like zhong.
Yeah, but I just usually pay attention to like the combat moves and whatnot. So his move, he's got very slow abilities. So I'm just like, I don't know, kind of like Almudron.
Yeah.
Almudron's also slow and stuff. So I like faster monsters. Like, one of my favorite ones is obviously Maggie. Because like Maggie, you just
Yeah.
basically like you do the back A and you just get the laser from the tail, just snipe him. But obviously the best one is Rajang. Like, actually, now that I think about it, Rajang is how I finished Apex Rathalos. I was fighting Rathalos, and then suddenly, like, I saw that there was a Rajang there, and he was mountable, and I was like, "Oh, bye, Rathalos." It was like 5,000 damage in 2 hits, and he died. I was like,
That's great.
Rajang is so crazy. But yeah, Teostra I thought was an amazing fight, and all
another
the
one with the
effects.
soundtrack was great.
I don't know about this. I don't know about the soundtrack of Teostra, to be honest. I think I liked the one in World better.
Interesting. How about Kushala? What did you think about that one?
Kushala I liked. Kushala and Chameleos I liked both of them, but Teostra, I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's bad. I'm just saying I kind of preferred the older version over this new one.
Well, then again, there is that, there's this tribal feeling in how his music usually plays. So maybe it's the adding that Japanese flair to it feels a little weirder, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
But he's a really fun hunt, though.
He is. And it's like, it took me a long time because I was like, I'm going to chop your tail slowly and painfully with Mizuts. And here, this is actually something that I've been meaning to ask. And it's a good thing that I just reminded, which is, does elemental damage stagger monsters more often in Rise?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because I think that might be the case. Because ever since I started using the elemental gun lance, because the way that I've been doing this build is like I have one of each element with a long shelling gun lance, and there was no good dragon long shelling gun lance, so I made the Rampage one to be a dragon long shelling gun lance. And so that basically I can, whenever I do a poke or something, I'm hitting the monster with the element that hurts. And I get a vibe that I'm getting more, not staggers, flinches. Like, when the monster goes like, ugh,
Yeah.
I get a vibe that I'm getting much more of those, even though these gun lances are technically speaking weaker than like the meta ones.
Yeah.
Even the meta ones with all their increased shelling and all of that stuff, it just seems like the ones with the right element, I seem to be getting a lot more flinches out of monsters. And I play solo, so it's not like player variation or anything like that. So I'm definitely getting
It
that
wouldn't
vibe.
surprise me because I don't know if it just because the elemental damage numbers are really high this time. Because the hit zones don't feel that different, at least on paper, but the element feels strong in this game. Like if you use the right element, you feel that there's a clear advantage.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
I'm definitely getting that vibe, which is cool because it gives me more motivation to be like, well, it doesn't have to be shelling level 5. I'll just play with shelling level 4. Fine, whatever. But I'll get the element, so there's that.
The sadness in your voice when you said that.
It is, dude. It's like the friggin' shelling levels has always been a problem for gun lances, like because you just feel like there's so many gun lances that you shouldn't be using. Because of
I was watching your stream. I was watching your stream when you looked at the Chameleos weapon,
God,
and it's so for anybody who wasn't there, it looked like you froze, and people were like, Rurikhan.exe has stopped working. Like, you were so gutted. It wasn't even like there was no theatrics. Like you were legitimately gutted. And you're like, why would they do that?
Because and here's the thing, because I want to play that gun lance. Because if you've seen the ramp up skill of that thing, like that ramp up skill sounds like it's so much fun. And then I look at and it's like, if it was shelling level 4, I'd be like, fine. Okay, it's not maximum shell. Fine. Why did it have to be level 3? Like that's the part that I'm like, why would it be level 3? And today I actually went and I crafted that gun lance and I tried using it as a slap lance, but slap lance, I don't think you're going to be, I could be wrong, but right now I don't think that you're going to be doing a lot of slap lance in this game. Just looking at numbers from, it wasn't a Rampage, sure, but like in a Rampage, I have a good sense of what the numbers look like when the counter gong is up for my regular gun lances. And it's like playing slap lance with Chameleos, I was like, this ain't it. And I had like max crit boost, bunch of crit eye, weakness exploit and whatnot. So I had all of the things to make it hit real hard. And it's got a lot of raw. It's got 220 raw damage. But I don't know. It just felt weak. So yeah.
But Yeah, that's unfortunate. Um, it'll be interesting to see if update 3.0 allows it to be upgraded a little bit or not, but I don't think so. I think the
Yeah,
Chameleos weapons are kind of what they are, right?
I don't think we're getting any more upgrades for the current weapons because there's no longer an question mark on the tree.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like
Well, the thing
because
is there's
I
one
was.
way to test this, you know.
What do you mean?
Well, not for the Elder Dragons, but for like other monsters, just see if you can roll back. 'Cause you're
Yeah.
not supposed to be able to roll back
No,
from
no.
final upgrades.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can roll back like the Raknikadaki at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're still going to get some upgrades
Okay.
in 3.0.
I hope we do because it can't be the end of the tree at this point. It just can't.
Especially we'll get Rampage 6 weapons as well, of course.
But before we talk, because I want to talk about some of the stuff that happened. Like Chameleos is just like the very first one that I was like, really? And then you look at the other weapons, and Chameleos weapons are so goddamn good. They're so goddamn good, and so much. Oh, and by the way, have you seen the design of the? Just in terms of design, there's so many weapons that have cool designs, like the charge blade, Chameleos charge blade. Have you seen it in motion? It's a deck of cards. It is so insanely good because, like, I have a friend of mine that only plays Charge Blade. He crafts all the Charge Blades, and he was playing with the Chameleos Charge Blade. And the first time I saw it in the hub, because I was showing him the Kadachi gun lance, I was like, "Oh, dude, check out this gun! It's from World, so you know, but it's still one of my favorite gun lance designs, the Kadachi gun lance." And then I noticed that he was also doing weapon poses, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, is that a deck of cards?" Because you just see a square when you look at the Chameleos charge blade. You just see a big square. But when you go into X mode, you see like the square opens up and it's like cards, like someone's holding a bunch of cards in their hand, right? And then when you see that spinning around from the condensed spinning slash, I'm like, what? Cool. It's just like, it's the cards spinning around. It's so cool. I was blown away by that. I was like, dude, that's an amazing design for a charge blade.
You know, I'm happy I got my hazy caster. It's the insect glaive with looks cool. The tip disappears and it glows and it looks really neat.
Yeah, I don't get it. So many weapons got the disappearing thing, which I thought was really cool. And then the gun lance gets like a perfume flask for a shield. And I'm just like, excuse me? Like, what is this? And the gun lance itself is also like kind of like a perfume flask. It's kind of a joke weapon. I was like, what the hell, dude? But so let's quickly touch up on Teostra's armor. Master's Touch is back, which is something that I really, really didn't want to see. They nerfed it a little bit, but I still didn't want to see Master's Touch. How do you feel about that?
Well, did you also notice that you can get it both in talismans and you can craft the decorations as well?
Yeah, so it makes it even easier to get it.
Capcom is always pushing people to go towards high affinity. They can't stop it. They just love their damn affinity.
Yeah. So, and to top it off, like Teostra's set right now, like as a full set, I think is one of the most meta things in the. I could be wrong, because again,
what does it give?
Critical Eye, Master's Touch, Critical Boost, and it gives you also Teostra's Soul, which increases like blast damage and fire damage, and prevents theft at level 4.
But how can that be the meta set though? Because you can get high crit and weakness exploit and boost on already and get like level 6-7 attack. You can't get attack on his set. There's not that many slots.
You can get all that already and have attack, but you can't get Master's Touch.
Yeah, but do you need it? When monsters are dying in 3 minutes at the hands of speedrunners, do you really need it?
There's also that, I guess. I don't know. I
mean, Master's Touch is great for like in the long run. Like you don't have to sharpen. It's nice. or if you have a weapon where you just get a little sliver of white, and you get 100% crit build so you don't lose it. But I don't know.
You can't do that with this Master's Touch. It's a good thing that you bring that up. I could actually be completely wrong because the 80% might make all of the difference. So yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I was hoping they wouldn't bring back Master's Touch because the reasoning is that in World, like at the end of World, it was always Master's Touch, always Master's Touch, and then the Behemoth set came, which also had Master's Touch. So it was like until Behemoth set came, it was 3 pieces Teostra plus something else. After the Behemoth set came, it was like 4 pieces Behemoth set and something else. And that was the thing. And it's like I just don't want to see that, right? Because up until this point, I feel like there were so many different options for people to build around stuff, and that felt interesting. And I feel like there's going to be a clear tendency for people to go towards the Teostra set. But again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't see it just because the slots to me seemed really bad. Like you're not going to be able to get in like handicraft really well on that thing, and a lot of weapons require handicraft in order to get that juicy white sharpness, anyways. I will have to wait and see how it plays out, but I didn't. I'm not necessarily worried about it at this point. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I do feel that. I mean, outside of Gunlance, of course, with the fact that the shelling makes such a huge difference, I think in general, the weapon balance this time so far has been pretty interesting. Like there's no one weapon that just creams all the others. For a lot of the classes, it seems like there's a lot of it seems like there's a lot of good options. Yeah, so I'm not worried about Master's Touch personally.
Okay. Maybe I'm making
again, I really like running my handicraft builds, and you got to have slots, and I don't have that much estate on my sets. Also, what I found really interesting was the Elder Dragon skills, the armor ones. They are only 4 levels, and they don't have it on the head, and I think they're the reason why is because for bow users. I don't know why they didn't add it, but the arena armor, which gives you the extra charge level, the mighty bow, is not a decoration yet, at least. So you can only make that by doing the arena coin stuff. So if you use that with bow, you're gonna have a hard time with the Elder Dragon stuff because you have to take off the headpiece. Well, the headpiece suspiciously is the only one that doesn't have that. So it kind of tells me that they probably kept that in mind for gunners, for bow users. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the meta goes. But you can actually buff up like the mid-range armor pretty high with armor sphere. It takes a crap load of Zenny though.
Jesus Christ! But thank God for your Zenny video, because I'm already out of money again. I got to go run more laps around.
I had
Lava
4
Cove.
million and I'm out. I had 4 million Zenny and I'm out completely. It's like damn. But I'm really happy that the older armor is quite expandable. So there's a lot of viable options in the armor. I think I'm going to end up crafting all the armor in the game in the end, because I think all of the pieces are quite interesting. Some are clear winners over others, of course, but it doesn't yet feel like, I mean, fingers crossed, I hope they don't break it in 3.0, but it doesn't feel, at least to me, that there's one armor set that is just like the king,
Speaking of breaking it, they still haven't fixed the thing that we talked about, the souls of the last bosses.
Yeah, maybe they will. There was some other stuff that was fixed, I noticed. So hopefully they'll get that in 3.0. There's so many videos on it now that I don't feel the need. Plus, I don't think anybody's running those sets anyways.
Nobody's using that stuff. The skills just whatever it is that they're going to do with those sets, I don't think we've seen it yet.
Yeah, so I just hope they don't overly break the game with whatever last boss they have in plan for 3.0. I don't want to see everyone. I don't want it to be the Fatalis set,
Yeah. Always.
But in the same way, like we're talking about with you playing aerial gunlance and me ignoring critical weakness exploit, I like the balance of the difficulty, and that it doesn't matter that much. You're not really, like, people say like, well, if I'm not using attack skills and I'm bringing down the team, if I go online, I'm like, these hunts are not taking that long anyways, regardless. So I think it takes the pressure off. I mean, of course, going online with goof around sets may not be the best and most nice thing to do, but you don't have to be optimal, so to say, to get good times. And I think good play will overcome a lot of those gaps.
I
Obviously, not the
definitely
case if you're speed running, but
I definitely hope so. Like I hope we don't. It's like I want to get into a situation where monsters are more challenging, but at the same time that I don't have to like, you know, do what we did for Fatalis, which is like everyone's forced to just like stack attack and stack like really important skills because you're kind of like on the clock and whatnot. Like I love that it was that challenging. I think it was really cool, but at the same time, it did very much limit the build options. I wish that there's a way to bring that challenge level without limiting the options of build. Like that's what I want to see because I want to be able to do the hard stuff while I'm like zipping around in my gun lance, like blast dashing and whatnot, just having a blast with that. But yeah, we'll see if that's the case or not. So the event quests that we were supposed to have gotten, we didn't get those yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious when they're going to release them. And I rewatched the video and they said, okay, so they said, starting from this update, they'll have it so that the event quests will pop up, but they haven't started them yet. And I'm really curious when.
Yeah,
what do you, I like the idea that they're going to give away, you do them and you get special gestures and stickers. I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah, that was indeed very cool because previously you didn't get them through gameplay, the gestures. It was just like, oh, here's some free packs of gestures every now and then here's the paid ones, right? And actually doing them through quests, I think, is a much more interesting way of locking them and whatnot. And
I am curious about your thoughts on this because something that's been a kind of perturbing me and a little bit, not perturbing us, but it's just a little weird is that not many people use stamps during the hunts. We do it all the time, and we're communicating and we're having fun. We're saying, "Good job, let's go get them." But no one uses stamps.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know if it's a combination because you're.
The reasoning for me is because I find it to be a pain in the ass to swap between the different things.
The radial menus?
Because the radial menus, because then I forget. Like I'll go into a radial menu and then I'll forget and it's not on the default one and I'm screwed because I'll try to drink a potion. I'm like send like 3 stamps in a row. Oh crap.
So what I like is if you press the minus button and you quick tab over, it will always have your most commonly used stickers right there at the top. So if there's like 2 or 3 that you use, like good job or let's get them or let's capture,
minus
it pops up right away.
Over.
There's the minus button, right? Which if you hold it down, it brings up the map.
Oh, right.
If you just tap it, it brings up the chat, and if you quick press RT or whatever to go over to stickers, it always puts your most commonly used ones right there in front of you. So it's very easy. It's like a quick shortcut for like 6 of them.
The problem for me is also that I play so much solo that I never
really
I never use them. So then when I go online, I'm just so used to not even using them that
yeah we made a bunch and we have fun with it, but it seems like a lot of people don't use them.
Yeah, I guess it's just one of those things. Like to me, it was because I didn't even realize that you could do that. Like I saw the messages when you press the minus button, but I didn't realize you could tab over to go into stickers.
Yeah, and the menus are not that nice. I mean, like the stickers by default, you have to add in your own text, and sometimes I get tripped up on. It's the same thing with like the Rondine UI. I feel that it feels a little clunky. Like there's so many times where I'll write something and then I'll try to save it, but then I went back and I didn't save it. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Am I on the edit screen or not? I don't know, and it's a little confusing UI wise. So that might be another reason.
Yeah, and then you have PlayStation forcing Japanese players to now use X to confirm, which that will not completely mess with your muscle memory. It already does so in the West. Like I actually today, because of the fact that I played I've been playing Outriders before the update came out. On their circle is back. So today I just bought and had to dismiss a Palico because I wanted to go back on the menu.
Oh man.
There's no dismiss animation. Oh.
I know. I was really disappointed because I wanted to laugh at it and you're gonna call me heartless and everything, but like, there's none.
There's none of that.
And you don't get the like scream or anything like that.
Nope.
You know what I'm really happy about in this update is something that I was a little unhappy about before it, which was that no one used life powders online, and I think it's because people didn't have them. They weren't easy to craft. They added life powder to Rondine's trade menu.
Yep.
which is awesome. So like I noticed much more people using life powders this time, at least in our hunts, which was nice because that's always a good thing to use. So I think that was a smart move.
So I'm curious. The buddy level cap has been raised as well
50.
to level 50. And
Jesus.
I don't know if this is going to be a thing or not, but is it going to increase the skill memory? Because mine are only like level 40 something.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't even checked.
I almost don't want it to, because like I have the perfect palico.
I've been ignoring the buddy system. I feel bad about it.
Oh my god, dude! I've been having so much fun with it. It's insane. Because like,
Yuna's been engaging with it more than I have.
You know,
what have you been doing with it?
We talked about how I don't remember if we talked about this or not. How powerful the gathering palicos are.
Oh yeah,
gathering palicos are just like beast overpowered, right? So everybody's using gathering palicos, and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't even like the idea of the gathering palico to begin with. So I'm gonna change things up, and so I'm still using the assist palico that I love, which is amazing. And then I was like, I'm gonna get a bombardier palico. Oh my god, bombardier palico is the best thing ever. Like when you see him with the Giga Barrel Bombay, just like slowly walking up to the monster and then blowing up to the tune of 240 damage. That's a palico just adding 240 damage, like potentially 2-3 times throughout the fight. It's not a joke, the amount of damage he's dealing. And on top of it, they're actually deadly accurate with flash bombs. They are so good at landing the flash bomb bait. It is insane. I've had multiple situations. Monsters like, you know, he's flying a little bit, and the Falcon's like, you see him set up his little rocket. It's like, the monster comes down. Amazing. And basically what I did is, because I wanted to see explosions, I just made sure that he would get the 2 explosive skills. So he's got the Zap Blast spinners to throw the exploding tops, and he's got the Mine. And the Mine is like a guaranteed flinch every single time the monster hits it.
Nice.
So there's been so many times I just sit behind the Mine. I see the monster coming. I start charging the Wyvern Fire. He hits the Mine, staggers, eats the Wyvern Fire to the face. It gives you so many openings to play around with. So I've been playing around with them a lot. But it's very frustrating because of the fact that you can't teach them skills. It's terrible.
Yeah, I really hope they add that in the next update or next version of the game, because I've been engaging with the system much less because of that. It's just been, it feels shallow. I don't know if that's the right word, but it doesn't feel nearly as deep as it was in the, I mean, it's not shallow at all. It's actually really deep. It's just not as customizable, I guess. I don't know what the right word is.
Customizable is not the word. It's like, it just has too much RNG. So the odds of you getting the palico that you want are so astronomical that you just like get demotivated and you don't feel like doing it.
And you're like, okay, this works, you know.
In between every hunt, I go there because I'm still looking for a better palico than the one that I'm using, but it's always frustrating, right? Because you're
going to be happy now with the update. You get the levels on those things are much higher now.
I don't care about. I wouldn't mind picking him up at level 1, so long as he had the things I want. If I'd had the option, I'll pick him up at level 1 and I'll level him up. I don't care. But the thing is, them not having it, and there's no way of you giving them more things. Because like right now, I have my Bombardier Palico is perfect. It's exactly what I want. He's got critical up L, attack up L, and knockout king, which is what I want for him. The 3 things that I want for him. But if they add additional skill memory, I'm gonna need to have like critical up
changes.
S or attack
changes
up
which
S.
skills you might want.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I'm almost.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind if
they
they added it. I'm sorry. The delay here is having me talk over you. I apologize.
That's fine.
Even if they added the ability for you to spend Chimera points to re-roll skills randomly, I wouldn't mind that either. Just any way to let us change some of those skills.
That would be good, so that, you know, you don't have the palico of your dreams and suddenly it's like, oh, I guess he's not that great anymore, because, you know. But yeah, I've been playing.
You can't share them either. You can't send them to other players, which is disappointing. So that killed all motivation for me to find the perfect palico. I'm just like, I will get a palico I think is decent, and that's good enough. And so I have like level 35 of every type, and but I don't use them as much. But for solo, they're fun. I got my 2 bomb cats, which is T and T. They're both just called T. It's T and T. I've got Fury and what's the other one? Fury and Rage are my 2 fight cats, and I made a bunch of cats. It's just I haven't touched the system too much.
Yeah, I've been
Yuna though. Yuna's going crazy with the doggies. What's Yuna? Man.
Oh, she's doing Palamutes?
Ever since she's doing role playing, and it's hilarious. So she's got like the last boss as her dog. And so I can't take pictures with her because I can't share them because it's like spoilers. But she scouted dogs with the exact color palette that would go along with the armor.
The armor set.
She raised them from level 1, and she's got both of her doggies with the claws, so they're always biting on the face and the butt of the monster. It's hilarious.
So she plays with double Palamute.
If she plays solo, yeah.
Wow.
But she online, her dog is always biting on the damn. It's always on the monster. It's hilarious. It's always on the face, and it's. So she names them the exact same name as the monster. So I can't take pictures of any of her stuff with the stuff on because it's all spoilery. I'm like, tell your damn dog to wait. So, but she's having a lot of fun with it, and her dogs have come in and done some really clutch wins for us in many times. So
the Palamutes I actually think are much easier to get, the ones that you want, because you just have one variable side, which is the passive skills, because the gear you can change however you see fit, which is great. The Palicos is the hard thing because you have 2 screens of variables, and they can change wildly. They can be great and they can be terrible. And sometimes it's so disappointing to see like, oh man, this would have been perfect if it had this one more thing, and then it doesn't have it. And you're like, then it's useless. Yeah. It's terrible.
I mean, I felt a little defeated in the fact that I spent all those apples and I trained all those cats to 35, and now just 1 month later, you can scout most cats at like level 34. It's just like,
that's not a big deal. I spent a bunch of apples leveling them up as well. So,
I mean, I got buddy tickets, so I guess it's fine. But I mean, it's like, I put in all that effort, and now I kind of just want to rescout and get new cats.
Hey, but at least it'll get you engaging with the system again. It's just, I really wish that they would give us a little bit of just teaching skills or teaching moves. Like, let us swap skills or swap moves, like one of those 2, because it will make it so much easier for us to get the stuff that we want. But yeah, my Palicos are friggin' savages, complete savages. The funny thing is,
what is your Palico names? What's your main Palico name?
You're gonna love it. Cha-Cha. And the secondary Palico, I'm sure you know the name.
Kayamba.
I love him, dude. It's so good. And then I basically dyed their armor, so Cha-Cha's green, Kayamba's blue. So yeah, it's really, really cool. And I got them a weapon that I think is a really cool weapon, the Rachnatome. It's got 25 affinity and like 175 raw for ranged attacks. I don't know. Do Palicos have like a tendency to do more ranged attacks if they have the ranged favorable weapon? You don't know.
I have no clue.
You're the Palico expert. You're supposed to know these things.
I know. It's so funny. Like that was the one system that you thought I'd be going crazy for, and I've just been largely ignoring it up until now because of the lack of customization. It just hit me in the heart so hard. It's like, oh. Yeah. I mean, all the cats are good. I mean, they're all decent. So it's like you don't need to necessarily stress about it. But man, when you get, like you were talking about, some of the skills though are so good.
Some of the skills.
Like, man, I got videos of my cat taking down a Diablos, just like pew, shoot him with the silk vine string, and he's like rolling him in, and that Diablos ain't going nowhere.
I love like, that thing. That thing is one of my favorite. The what's it called? Silk vine, feline silk vine, whatever. That is one of my favorite things of the Palicos, because like, you know what mine will do sometimes, and this might be random or it might be AI. I don't know. But he'll put the trap down, and then he'll reel the monster into the trap. I was like, wow, what the hell? I have this clip, I think I put it on Twitter, and where you see like right at the start of the clip, I was playing my Gathering Palico, and he paralyzed the monster I was fighting. I think it was Rachna. So he paralyzed Rachna, and then I broke Rachna's like egg sac or whatever, and so she fell down. And then immediately after she fell down, the assist Palico was placing down a trap. And then as Rachna gets up, he pulls her into the trap with things. I was like, Rachna was just sitting there doing nothing with these two Palicos, just
The cat is
chaining her
savage.
down. Is insane. But yeah,
Oh,
that
man.
is a lot of fun. And I think
So
the
I
one
have
thing
not, I've not unlocked everything in the update. I'm kind of curious now, like at what HR unlocks what. I know that HR, I think 45 is what unlocks
Apex
Mizutsune
Mizu.
standalone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I
And I
think
think
that's
100 I know unlocks like a bunch of titles for your guild card.
okay. Titles for the guild card. But that I think that's it in terms of like monsters. 45 is the max right now, right? Which is Mizu.
I'm guessing so, yeah.
But you want to know the
So
interesting
what?
thing? Even though, like, for instance, Teostra, you need, to unlock it, you need Hunter rank 40. You don't need Hunter rank 40 to do it. So,
Yeah, but
like,
how do you search for it if you? Oh, with a friend.
I don't know, but like me and one of my friends, we were fighting Teostra, and then we had another friend join in who's like Hunter rank 16 or something. And I told him, look, we just got to kill this monster, and then we'll go help you. And then actually, no, I didn't even say anything. I just sent him the password to the lobby so that he could get in. And we were still fighting Teostra. So I thought he was just going to wait until we fought Teostra so that we could play, because I assumed he wouldn't be able to join the quest. But suddenly we're fighting Teostra, and it just says such and such has entered the quest. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? You're
Yeah,
Hunter
but
rank 16. What do you mean? It just
But
works.
thinking back, I think that's generally how it used to be. Like you had to be a certain hunter rank to unlock it, but then everyone else just 24 or higher, and you were trying to join it. So it's always kind of nice to find someone hosting it, because you're like, yes, because I don't have it, but I can join it. Like
But
I
could
remember doing
you-
that for some of the Fatalis rooms and stuff way back when.
Okay, but that was like in older games, because I think that, for instance,
Yeah,
if
not
you
World.
did-
World had like
World was like
they had,
hard
like-
locked.
Yeah, if you're not 100, you can't join. It's like, what? Come on.
Yeah, that's why I was so surprised. Like I was expecting it to work more like World, but then it was not. Which I think is actually a good thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm playing a hunt with a friend, and there's another friend who hasn't unlocked this hunt. Who cares? Just join in, kill the monster.
Well,
boom,
look at the
done.
rampages too. Some of the rampages, it's like you can go and do like a level 7 threat, and it's like HR 4 or higher. I'm like, what?
Yeah, about that.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, because they're going to give you tickets, and you're not going to you haven't unlocked the upgrades, because they the way that they did that is that you can't even craft the stuff until you get that far. I guess it's not an issue, but it is interesting how the game is a little bit more loose in that regard.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever, go for it.
So, out of have you fought? You haven't fought all of the apexes yet, though, right? You fought what, Azuros? Outside the rampage, I mean.
Yeah, we did that, and that was fun. That boy can move.
Yeah, Azuros kept stunning me basically, because here's an interesting thing. Like with the new sets, I'm like, oh, I can get all of the skills that I want, but then it's like, oh, but now I'm missing some of the
Stun resistance.
some of the the quality skills that we used to get on the other sets, because they had so many tier 1 slots that I was just like,
Oh yeah.
speed sharpener, stun resistance, I can get everything I want. And now it's like I got nothing.
Satiated. Free meal.
I don't have speed sharpener, I don't have stun resistance, I got nothing. So getting stunned was like suddenly, oh, this is actually a problem. This monster's beating my face in by stunning me. But yeah, he's a tricky one. But
Yeah. So today we'll do Rathian, and then I hope we'll probably unlock Mizutsune, who I'm very much looking forward to. Is it as hard as I think it might be outside?
I have
Rampage?
no idea. I haven't fought him yet. He's the one that I haven't fought
nice.
yet, because I've started grinding things that I wanted to craft and whatnot, and it just wasn't a big priority until I finished the things that I wanted to do. Did you try out the ramp up skill on Kushala?
No, but I did do it on Chameleos and also Teostra weapons.
How does it work on Chameleos?
It's really rare.
Oh, it's very
Like-
rare?
It's really like I sat there hitting the training dummy like 600 times and I think I got the attack proc once. So the thing is, like, if it procs, it's pretty powerful. Like, if it procs, like, the heal is, like, substantial. It's like a big heal. There's some clips on Twitter that show it. Like, it's a really big one. If it procs for defense, it's, like, plus 20 for 60 seconds or something like that. And attack is, like, plus 15, I think. I could be wrong, but for 60 seconds. So on paper, it sounds really good, but it does not proc that often. It's quite rare. It feels like, I don't know, maybe a 2% chance of it procking, if that. It's low. So I'm actually thinking about going back and changing that to the defense boost, because the defense boost is actually quite nice. It's like 30 or 40 depending on the weapon, I think.
So
the Teostra one is great. So instead of doing 100 per blast, you do 120 every time, and his blast is really high, so you do a lot of blast. So having 120 per blast is nice.
Okay, so
Kushala, what does that one do again? I can't remember.
Kushala is repeat offender. You remember repeat offender?
Oh, yeah. I saw a tweet on this. So apparently, like, you do one hit, and it gives you, I think it's what, 25 or 30% affinity on the first hit.
Affinity on the first hit. Like, it almost seems like it's broken. Like, that's way too much, isn't it? Because, like, so long as you're attacking, the buff stays up.
So well, like if you do like 5 hits, it goes up to 35, right?
I think 30 is the max. Like, I did a bunch of 30, hits and it only went up to 30. But it's weird that it goes straight to 25, because it would seem like it'd be something where you'd get like maybe 10, 15, 20, and so on and so forth.
I can't remember. Didn't repeat offender work like that, though?
I have no idea.
Like, it was instant.
I have no idea what repeat offender was like, because I didn't play that much back then. But I was just surprised because I got there and I was like, okay, so let's see how many hits it is to trigger. And I hit it once and I instantly see the stamina, the affinity thing. And I was like, how much is this? So, but it's very low duration. So like goes away almost instantly if you stop attacking. So I had to basically attack and then very quickly go into the status screen to see. And it's like, so it's one hit, 25%. So the second you do the only hit that doesn't count is the first one. Everything else always has 25%.
It's basically just free critical eye then, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, 25% of it, which is a beast. Like, I was surprised by how much it was. And good news, Kushala's gun lance is long shelling level 5.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, the raw is pretty bad. It's like 160 damage.
Oh.
But it's fine because like the added damage from shelling makes up for it. So I'm like, okay, fine. Whatever. And he's got a ton of elements, like 40 something element or whatever.
Yeah,
so that's a lot.
The ice is strong. I like the way that they rolled it out, and I never played DOS, so I don't know if it was like that way back when. But like, you fight the Damascus set is basically like you want to have a little help fighting Chameleos, just make Damascus, and then you get Chameleos, you fight him. His set is perfect for going against Kushala, right? It's got ice defense, like really good ice defense. It negates all wind. So it's basically the anti-Kushala set. So if you spend your time to craft it, you're going to have a much easier time. Then Kushala is the anti-Teostra set. And then for some reason, Teostra has negate theft.
The negate theft is so weird. It's
like they ran out of ideas.
And the worst part is that, like, what he's stealing doesn't even matter that much. He's stealing Spirit Bird nonsense, so who cares? Like, if he was stealing your potions, I could see negate theft being an important thing, but,
I still haven't tested the skill, so I don't know how active it is, but it was interesting to see Kushala's set has the diversion on it, and you're stuck with it, so, like, the monster targets you more, but I'm like, how much is that? I mean, as a lancer, that would be nice, but I mean, like, I wonder.
I've heard that I've heard that it doesn't do much.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a big deal because like I have a friend of mine that wanted to do that because he's playing longsword and he wanted the monster to target him to get counters, and he said that it didn't make any difference almost. So I was like,
yeah, they're all like, watch out, the monster's targeting you. I'm like, no, they're not. Interesting. So thoughts, concerns, wishes, dreams going into update 3.0 in just 1 month? First off, do you first off, do you feel with the amount of new armor and decos to craft that we have a month's worth of good content to chew on? For me,
I mean, it's like for your average player, yes.
yeah,
For me, probably even more so because I'm also doing armor sets and whatnot. But like for
mm,
someone someone that has a lot of time on their hands and plays like one weapon, no, they're gonna like be done in
yeah,
I think 1-2 weeks tops. I think they'll be done. But again, you can't. Those people, you're not going to be able to produce enough content for them. So it's like whatever. I think
yeah.
the update is sizable. As a matter of fact, that I have a bit of an issue with people saying because this is something that I hear people say a lot, and I've talked about this on my stream today as well, which is people are saying World had way more content than Rise at launch, and it's like, well, let's look at this objectively because I know how much content World had at launch because I made a video talking about it. World at launch had 31 monsters, 5 maps. It also had like the grind for decos and all of that stuff. Sure, it had the investigation system, yes, but it was 31 monsters, 5 maps. Rise, it's 37 monsters, 5 maps, plus the Rampage map, which is also a brand new game mode. Technically speaking, Rise has more content than World. In monster numbers
Yeah.
alone, and in maps alone, it has more content than World.
I think some people feel that the tempered monsters were like a new thing, like a different monster, or more challenging. So they thought
Yeah,
that
it was more
like it added in
challenging.
more.
It was definitely more challenging. So, but it's not like, I mean, they could basically tweak
I,
the numbers on these monsters and serve them back to you, which is kind of like what World did. But I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, content is different depending on who's playing, right? Like
Yeah.
like you said, if you're only playing one weapon, then that's like 1,000 weapons and armor sets that don't exist for you. So and now with like I was saying, with the armor sets are so, and they've always been like this in a way, but they're so themed. Like there's the gun lance set. There is the one that's good for switch axe. There's the set that's good for this. Like there's template armors that are very obviously tailored around specific weapons that you wouldn't even think about using if you're only playing one weapon. You wouldn't even think about it. You'd be like, okay, I'm not interested in that set. So I mean, was it the content is in the eye of the beholder? One man's treasure is another one's trash. So I'm very happy with the update. I think
But
it's
with
very
the
sizable.
but with the update, like they've definitely added a lot of things for people to chase, which I think
Mm.
is very important. I think that potentially we could be missing on some things to chase if you're someone that only plays one weapon. At the on release, Rise didn't have a lot for you to chase after you made your set and whatnot, and getting like 1 or 2 good charms, like you're good, right? But now with this update, there's a lot for you to chase. There's the layered armor system. There's the deco crafting for different decos that you might want. There's new charms that you can get with the charm system. There's
Hmm.
1,000 things to do now in the game. So I think that now we're in a pretty good spot, and I think we do have enough to hold us until 3.0.
Yeah.
And
What do you want to see in 3.0?
personally I'm super happy about it. In 3.0, what do I want to see? Well, I want to see Logi starters. Where's my Logi? I'm still waiting for Logi. I want to see Logi.
I really want Plesioth. No, I'm joking.
God damn, dude. The hip checks of World. Um,
We're getting it in stories too, so it's okay.
goddamn fish.
Well, now you can ride it, and you can terrorize the monster kingdom with it.
No, there's only one monster that I can ride when I play stories too. But for 3.0, I'd like to see for starters, I'd like to see more new monsters as opposed to just returning monsters. I saw a really interesting comment earlier today. I'm getting a little bit scatterbrained because of the hours, but the time, I mean. But someone said if only they would make new monsters instead of rehashed world monsters. And I'm just like, none of these monsters originated in world. None of the monsters that were in this. So it's like, all of these monsters originated in other games.
And like we said before, like they changed the fights considerably. They put in the effort where
very much
GU, I think, was just like, let's just put everything in.
Yeah.
And so they didn't do much changes, but
put all of the monsters in here, and then you have the Fatalis fight in GU, which was boring. It's like one of the most
boring as hell.
One of the most dangerous monsters in the Monster Hunter World universe. Just make sure you bring Mind's Eye, and that's it. But I want to see new monsters specifically for Rise, like new monsters for this game. And I want to see Logi. But I would also like to see a bigger challenge in Rampages, like we talked about. Like Rampages that you can actually fail if you don't do properly.
Yeah.
Like if you fail to organize a proper defense, like it actually goes to crap and you're screwed. Like Rampage,
Rampage.
Yeah, something along those lines. Like actually make it more challenging. So overall, just like increase challenge levels, because I didn't fail any of the new quests. None of them. Which I was like, there were some quests in there where it's like, oh, I actually carded once, but I want to actually feel that threat. But maybe that's just only going to happen with Master Rank. Because that happened with World, because that was kind of like the first time that I really, hunkered down and like optimized myself to play the game properly. And now in Rise, I already know how to play the game, so things are a lot easier by consequence of that.
Yeah, the only thing that killed me back in World was Kieran, and that was it. Tempered Kieran was the only thing that killed me, pretty much.
Tempered Kieran is Tempered Kieran. I mean, I remember Tempered Kieran at one point speed ran me. It was a quest. Monster, it was a quest with 2 cards. It was one of those investigations, and I run up to him, and he's like, "Boom! One shots me.
You're dead."
But then it wasn't enough, so he ran up to close to the camp, and as the palicos dropped me, and I'm getting back up, boom! What the hell? So Kieran speed ran me.
World record, Rurikhan defeated in 0.52 seconds.
No, it was more like a minute and 30 something seconds or whatever. But yeah, he freaking speed ran me. It was crazy. But yeah, that's kind of like what I want. Just more challenge and new monsters. And hopefully do justice by Rathalos Gunlance, because good God, why would you do that? Rathalos Gunlance no longer has max shelling. I was like, what do you mean? It was one of my favorite Gunlances. I love it. I have max shelling.
I would love to, I don't think they'll do it, but I would love to see them find a way to open up the ramp up skills for the weapons to allow more weapons to be for more customization. Like, can you imagine, maybe it's not even a final form, but let's just say there's a system that allows you to pick from a larger list of ramp up skills, so you could start having that, the weapons with even more minus affinity if you wanted, or weapons with more element or something. But I don't think they'll do that. I don't want to see. I don't think it'll happen. But Rampage 6 weapons are probably going to be like really powerful. How powerful, I don't know. That remains to be seen. But they're already starting to really get up there. I don't know if you've looked at them, but they are now standing head to head with the other weapons.
Not in the Gunlance,
in my opinion. But they look like shit. So you get bored of those designs. So hopefully they'll add in, maybe I want to see weapon transmogging. If not for just Rampage weapons would be nice. But any weapon would be cool. Just because there are some really cool looking weapons in the game, and it would be nice to change their appearance.
I don't know. I guess due to the fact that the Kimura Gunlance looks so good, I don't have a huge problem with it. It's like that scythe-looking Gunlance. I actually kind of like it. I think it looks pretty cool.
Nice.
I don't have a big problem.
I hope they add in the mighty bow as a decoration. That I think that's a little unfair to bow users to be stuck using the same headpiece. I hope they do something with Jump Master, so it's not crap.
I've had to suffer through the Renoplos curse. I have no sympathy for bow users.
No sympathy.
I mean, at least their armor piece is like a feather in their ear. My armor piece was like, my character looked like a tank in a bad way. in a really bad way. Never thought I'd say that.
What would be really nice is if they added in, like we were talking about, like super quests, like really hard versions of the Apex in a standalone quest, where it gives you like a ticket, and let's say like all the monsters that have an Apex have one final upgrade. Let's say it's not even armor; it's just the weapons, right? Like Mizu weapons have one final upgrade, and you got to have the Apex Mizutsune ticket, and you get that from doing this crazy ass, super buffed Mizutsune in the forest. Like that would be awesome.
Yep.
That would be really cool. And that would give us reason to min-max and really customize our sets to be the best they can be for our playstyle. That would be neat. So I guess just give me challenge. Give me some.
See, you're also asking for
nice
challenge.
Yeah. I mean, and I want rampages we can fail. I'm feeling fine with what they gave us in 2.0 was so good. Like I think I'm not worried about what we'll get in 3.0. Whatever it is, though, I mean, hopefully it'll last us until July, because then I'm going to be going. I will actually stop playing probably Rise for a while, and do stories too. I want to really dedicate myself to that, because that I'm really looking forward to. So I do hope that I hope the sales encourage them to do an update 4.0 would be nice. Like maybe after the dust settles for stories 2, they do something would be cool.
Yeah,
but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm happy, man. Rise is, as you know, it's not a perfect game, but it checks all the boxes of everything that I wanted.
It's got
pretty much everything.
It became my favorite, pretty much, and
it's just fun.
Here's something they need to do in the short term. Give us something to get us Zenny. Like, I don't want to just be running laps around the lava caverns.
Actually, no, wait. There is a feature I want in 3.0 that I completely forgot about. Give us an armor skill like stealth from World. I want to go around and just take pictures of monsters. It is way too fun.
Monster Hunter Snap.
Yes.
Because you can
seriously
put
going around and taking pictures
in the
is so
hunter's
fun.
notes, right? You can put those in the hunter's notes, or no? Or am I
Yes, wrong? Yes, you can, and it's just fun because it saves it to your Switch. Like, I just want to go around taking pictures. I really, really enjoy it. And I'm not good like Yuna is. Like, she can grab amazing pictures in the middle of a hunt. I'm not that good. So I would love to see something like that.
That would be cool. But I'm like starting to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And you still haven't properly woken up, so we're sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's like sleep deprivation is getting to the both of us. But hopefully you guys still enjoyed the episode. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the update 2.0. Next week we'll probably be talking about the mystery monster that we didn't talk about this week. So stay tuned for that. And obviously at that point we'll have more time and more stuff that we'll want to talk about, from weapons and armor sets and whatnot, and all, because right now it's still all extremely fresh. We're still just like
the last 24 hours,
Yeah, it's been friggin' insane. We're still just kind of like dipping our toes. We didn't even talk about the new Sword and Shield. Did you know about that one?
Yeah. That the classic ninja blade with its 100% affinity. So I was actually looking at that as a good video idea today. If I have time, maybe if I just need a break, I'll have Yuna play against Kushala, and then she'll be like, I need an hour break. I'm like, good, I'll go make a video. And then, but it's interesting. Everyone's going crazy, but it's going to be interesting to try to compare it to other weapons to see, does it really stack up, or is it just just decent?
I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break that weapon. I'm gonna make it
100% affinity.
But
as someone I've been using the Raging Claws. So like 100% affinity, I'm like, welcome to the club.
It's just disappointing that it's a sword and shield without a shield. I'm big on shields, and it not having a shield really bothers me.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It doesn't work. So
yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be
it.
You
need to get yourself some sleep.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for today's episode, you guys. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, hit the dislike button. There's links to all things Gaijin in the description. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe,
and happy hunting.